Welcome. Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G. I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. A lot of things going on around the NFL. What's going on, Daniel? The Queen, what's going on, Purple? It's a lot of things going on around the NFL. And I noticed that Daniel M. says something about Tank Lawrence. Let me address that just for a moment as people begin to come in, and then we'll really get going. But I want to really address what you're talking about, because I heard some things this morning, and I'm telling y'all, I am going to do a video tonight because I told y'all just a couple of days ago, there is something up with the Dallas Cowboys and these injured players. And I could be talking about the conspiracy theory part of me that's like, wow, this is crazy, all these players being hurt. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. What's going on, Darrell Carter? But I think Tank Lawrence is the key to a lot of this. Daniel M. Tank Lawrence said this early on. He was not playing. He said he is not playing unless he is a 100% healthy. Now, when I think about these other players, they always try to rush back from injury. And my question becomes, why do they try to rush back from injury? Niecy, what's going on? I hadn't seen you in a minute. What is going on? What's going on, D Block 88? What is going on with these Cowboys and these injuries? And they come back early and they wind up hurt again. They come back early, they wind up hurt again. I mean, Michael Gallup literally had to retire. Michael Gallup basically had to retire. DeMarcus Lawrence is sending a message to the Cowboys front office. We may not realize this. What's going on, Cheyenne? DeMarcus Lawrence is sending a message to the Cowboys front office. He's not going out like everyone else. He's not. DeMarcus Lawrence is saying something. I'm not going out at the end of my career all banged up, nicked up, banged up, and then my career is over after the Cowboys. He said it. I plan on playing next year, whether it be with the Cowboys or someone else. Tank Lawrence knows they're not re-signing him, Daniel. He knows it. He knows they're not re-signing him. So he's saying something. I'm not about, and I don't know how other people feel about this, but I'm sorry. Me, this is a football business. And that's the part of the game people don't understand, nor do they like. But it's a football business. And I'm going to do another video on Micah Parsons. See, Micah Parsons, I said it in the video when he did it. Now I'm going to do a follow-up. See, Micah Parsons stuck his big fat foot in his mouth, doing all that talking about Jerry, my dog. I got to win a couple for him. There's no difference between 30 and 40 million. Okay. You're going to learn about that kind of talk because his tune is changing all of a sudden now after the Panthers win. Oh, he wanted to be a career Cowboy. Now, all of a sudden, it's his time here. It's, if he can be here for the next 5 or 6 years. Yeah, because Stephen Jones is already running his mouth about that contract thing. Stephen Jones is already saying things about maybe we shouldn't be tying up all the salary cap in the top players. Really, Stephen? Really? Well, Michael Parsons, don't you complain. Don't you complain, Micah Parsons, because you threw fire, you threw gasoline on the fire. You're helping him. I want y'all to understand how smart Dak Prescott is. People do not understand how smart Dak Prescott is. Everything about this season, Dak Prescott was already telling us. We may not like the kind of leader that Dak Prescott is, but I love the kind of leader that Dak Prescott is because Dak Prescott is a psychological master. Problem is people don't listen because they're not used to this type of leader. Dak is telling you so many things that's wrong with this team. Just like when he spoke out just out of the blue. Last week, was it? Dak Prescott kind of speaks out of the blue. I wish Mike could come back and do it his way. What are you talking about, Dak? No, we know exactly what you're talking about. Those of us who can easily read between the lines. You know exactly what you're talking about. This front office keeps its nose in every part of the game. Every single part. And Dak was talking about their nose in the business of not letting Mike McCarthy do some things that he wanted to do. But I hope Dak learned a lesson. There are some men that they won't stand on what they say behind closed doors. So I'm not speaking up for a man who full well has a voice, but won't use it out of fear. Well, don't speak up for him. It's one thing when you're speaking up for the powerless, the little guy, things of that nature. Mike McCarthy is just a yes man. So, Dak Prescott, I hope you learned a lesson. Don't speak out for him. But Dak has been telling us about the inner workings of this team the whole season. Ever since he put that name on the dotted line, Dak's been just giving us all kinds of golden nuggets. And because some folks listen too much to the media rather than listening to Dak himself. Bad practices, anybody? Not practicing hard. What are people doing when they're not in the facility? What are they doing? People not knowing their assignments, not knowing where they're supposed to be. Dak's been telling us everything we need to know about this team. And the problem I have with some of this fan base, the toxic part. Every time we win, we ignore dumbness. The Carolina Panthers win didn't do nothing for me. Because Jerry Jones is still up there. Stephen Jones is still up there. Mike McCarthy is still the coach. I'm just not jumping on the bandwagon like everybody else. I've been saying it the whole year. I have a problem with Mike McCarthy, even with all of the Jerry Jones stuff. The one thing that he has not shown is he controls the part that he can control. He doesn't control those parts well. He's not a great manager of the game. Situational football. We can blame players all we want to, but no, Mike McCarthy is not a great manager of the game. And Mike McCarthy, this is why I was saying just the other day, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. See, Mike McCarthy and Micah Parsons is one and the same in a sense. They're one and the same in a sense. They eat and we eat off of bad teams. We eat off bad teams. We've done it. If you pay attention, Mike McCarthy has done this since he's been here. Yeah, we got 12-win seasons, and I'm not knocking that. But when you look at some of the biggest games during those seasons, and what I mean by big games, I mean statement games, games that tells everyone We can play with the big boys. We can play with the big boys. When we're talking like that, when we win those types of games, like last year, we didn't beat the Buffalo Bills. We didn't beat them down the stretch. The Detroit Lions game was marred with controversy. So people didn't necessarily take that game very serious because a lot of people were saying we should have lost that game. We didn't win the Miami Dolphin game. A little bit of controversy in there. But when it comes to the statement games, we don't do those well. But these Carolina Panthers games, these New York Giants games, and I don't know why everybody was really in much of an uproar about the Commanders game because we typically do well in a lot of the divisional games. Dak Prescott has owned the NFC. Dak Prescott has mauled the NFC. So it's no wonder that we won those. We beat the Commanders. The Giants are terrible. I'm questioning whether or not we're going to beat the Commanders the second time because I promise you Dan Quinn won't be asleep. They will not be asleep on the next go-round. And so we win these games and we get all in our, oh yeah, we're back on the playoff trail. That's why I say it's Overreaction Monday, because people keep talking about the playoffs. We were talking about them last night. But I still remember who the coach is. I still remember who the owner is, the GM. I remember all this stuff. And I'm saying all of this because, again, this DeMarcus Lawrence thing is the key to all this. I'm not saying maybe it's the key, but for me, it's showing me something. Because why will DeMarcus Lawrence, why will he not come back? Because it seems like he could probably come back if he wanted to. It seems like he's good enough to play. Paul, I'm going to tell you, I think it maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I'm telling you this part. He can play if he wants to. That's the part I'm talking about. He doesn't want to play. DeMarcus Lawrence said, I'm not going out like this. He said it. I'm not going out like this. Jay Recruiter, what's going on? He said, I'm not going out like this. What does that mean? He said it. I plan to play somewhere else next year. What does that mean? What does you playing this year and you playing next year, how are they connected? Because everyone who's playing this year plans on playing next year. No. He's telling us something larger. He's saying, I'm not playing injured. I'm older. I'm not ending my career. Now, I think what happened with Gallup, it's not the Raiders. No, he couldn't play no more. He couldn't play no more. What does the Raiders have to do with anything? No, he couldn't play no more. You don't quit this game because you go to a team that you don't quit this game for stuff like that. People who really love this game, they don't quit the game for stuff like that. Michael Gallup is not an old guy. He wasn't old by wide receiver standards. Not to mention, the Cowboys were they still had to pay him a bag. Still had to pay him a bag. This guy's only 28 years old. What's the big deal about playing a year or two for the Raiders? Big deal. Play a year, they cut you. You're 29 years old. You go somewhere else and play. You get your game back together, to get your body together. You do your thing. No, there is something, and I said it a couple of days ago, there is something going on with this team. And I don't find it to be strange. They get players that come back early from injury, and they wind up hurt again. Now, and the other reason why I'm saying this, I listened to an interview last night from Mike McCarthy, and then I listened to Stephen Jones this morning. And they're both saying two different things. Mike McCarthy says the Trayvon Diggs injury happened in the Cincinnati Bengals game. Really, Mike McCarthy. So you're telling us Trayvon Diggs' injury let me see if I can pull. I was listening to it last night. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because Mike says that Trayvon Diggs' injury, or at least this is what he sounded like he said. Maybe I'm going crazy. He said that the injury was not something that had been ongoing, nor related to anything ongoing. None of stuff's been happening. That's Mike McCarthy. He said it was because of something that happened in the Cincinnati Bengals game. That's Mike McCarthy. But then this morning, I'm listening to Stephen Jones, and Stephen Jones says something to me that was absolutely insane. Stephen Jones goes into a whole different spiel that makes me realize that there is something wrong on this team when it comes to injuries and them playing with injuries. And then when they get hurt, all of a sudden, everyone's got their hands in the air like, I don't know what happened. No, I think we know fully what happened. I think we know fully what is happening if we're paying attention. Let me see if I can find this for you real quick. I want to cue it up because I'm telling you, man, Mike McCarthy said something strange to me. And you could tell by the look on his face. I've already said it early in the year. Mike McCarthy is a liar. And I've said it on multiple occasions. Mike McCarthy is a liar. I mean, just like when Dak said, what Dak's talking about, might come back and do it his way. And Mike McCarthy talking about, I don't even know what Dak's talking about. Yeah, you do. Because he got that from you, Mike. Because he went to your family's house. He talks to you on a regular basis. No, Mike, he got that stuff from you. And that's why he was talking about it. But let me cue this up real quick. Hold on a second. Okay, y'all give me just a second. Because what I'm pulling up here, if it's the right let's see. All right. Okay. I have Mike McCarthy queued up. I want you to listen to how Mike McCarthy tells this story about Trayvon Diggs. The way he tells this story about Trayvon Diggs is kind of strange to me. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. Nisi said, D-Law on the phone with DQ. I won't be surprised. I will not be surprised. What's going on, Revelation? What's going on, Marlon Brando? What's going on? D-Block 88, Willie T, 80, Willie T, everybody, what's going on? I'm running back through the comments. Lewis, what's going on? Michael H, what's going on? Just going back, making sure I catch everybody that I can. Welcome, everybody. What's going on, Ultra Cowboy? And then I'll try to roll back up through some of the comments. Probably won't be able to get back all the way to the top. But I want you to hear Mike McCarthy, what he says about Trayvon Diggs. That was mind-blowing to me. Listen to this.
And you mentioned Diggs at the beginning. Can you kind of walk us through the timeline and how that all went down and when you guys knew it was going to be certain? Well,
yeah, I mean, it's something that's he's been dealing with knee injury. Then this is something that occurred in the game. So he went in for the MRI and we received the bad news. So that's a huge loss, obviously, and personally you feel terrible for Trayvon. That's 2 years in a row with season-ending knee surgery. So that's a tough one.
I'm going to jump in here. So this is something that came up during the game, not something he's been dealing with all season. That knee.
Well, yeah, he's been on the injury report at various times.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm just saying, but it's not what's going on. It's not a continuation of what he's been dealing with. This is something that happened in the game Monday.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Did y'all see the look on Mike McCarthy's face? He got nailed down on that question. What's going on, Andre? Appreciate you, D-Block. He got nailed down on that question. Did y'all catch that? He got nailed down because Mike McCarthy, this is one of the reasons why I will not be surprised he's coming back. He's a company man. And whatever is going on with the Joneses, the front office, all this stuff, he goes right along with it. And so when they ask him the question, is this something that has been ongoing? Is this all related? He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Well, he's been on the injury report all year. But then he says, but it's something that occurred in the Cincinnati Bengal game. Okay, Mike, which one is it? So the follow-up guy comes back and pins him down to the mat like a wrestler. Mike, is it something that has been ongoing, or is it something that only happened in the Bengals game? Let's listen to the answer again. You got to catch Mike McCarthy. I'm telling you, man, Mike McCarthy is
injury. Then this is something that occurred in the game. So he went in for the MRI and we received the bad news. So that's a huge loss, obviously, and personally you feel terrible for Trayvon. That's 2 years in a row with season-ending knee surgery. So that's a tough one.
I'm going to jump in here. So this is something that came up during the game, not something he's been dealing with all season. That knee.
Well, yeah, he's
Clarence Hill. Y'all see what they're doing to Mike? Watch his face. I bet you a body language expert would tell you this man is telling a bold-faced lie. I'm not a body reading expert, but I can read this man's face. He knows he's caught. He's saying, oh, surprise. It was a surprise. It was a surprise. Okay, is it a surprise? I mean, what is it? It happened during the game. It's a surprise during the week. Unrelated to the fact that he's been on the injury report, missed the game before, growing injury, calf injury. I mean, it's like, what's going on? Is this any of this related? Watch this. I'm going to show you how I know he's lying. Just listen to him. Clarence asking the question, and then someone else comes back and says, okay, let's nail it down. Listen to him.
He's been on the injury report at various times for.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm just saying, but it's not what's going on. It's not a continuation of what he's been dealing with. This is something that happened in the game Monday.
Are you tired of struggling with stubborn jar lids?
We're going to get YouTube Premium one of these days. But wait.
All right. He's been on the injury report at various times for.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm just saying, but it's not what's going on. It's not a continuation of what he's been dealing with. This is something that happened in the game Monday.
Correct.
Really, Mike? So this is actually something that just happened out of the blue, even though he's been dealing with injury all season long. But this has nothing to do with any of the stuff from the year. This just happened to happen in the Cincinnati Bengal game. Didn't I tell you? You can go back and look at the pregame show before the Cincinnati Bengal game. And I said, and I quote, if I was Trayvon Diggs, I would not play in that Cincinnati Bengal game. There is no way I'm going against Jamar Chase, who is absolutely in his bag right now. Jamar Chase is absolutely in his bag right now. There is no way I'm going up against Jamar Chase at 70%, not even 80%. If Trayvon Diggs wasn't good, Trayvon Diggs should not have played against the Cincinnati Bengals. And the reality is this. I believe they probably should have shut Trayvon Diggs down for the season. The moment that they knew things were going awry, they should have said, no, we got too much money invested in Trayvon Diggs, because they do. Trayvon Diggs just got $24 million guaranteed for 2025. There is no way that I am going to do this to Trayvon Diggs. I'm not going to do it. Purple Soul says, y'all talking about the playoffs. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But Daniel M. has the great question at the beginning. So I wanted to address this whole thing with DeMarcus Lawrence, because DeMarcus Lawrence is really the key to all of this. DeMarcus Lawrence is basically saying, I'm not playing injured. I'm not going to play injured so that I can end the season injured and then go in the offseason injured. And then if I want to go to a team, then I can't pass a physical. Being injured lessens my options. I just hope that Trayvon Diggs, because we know what Trayvon Diggs was at once upon a time. I just hope Trayvon Diggs doesn't end his career or shorten his career trying to do all of these things for the Dallas Cowboys. I hope he doesn't do it. So, but Stephen Jones, and I'll do a video about that. You guys can check it out later. But Stephen Jones is going to tell an entirely different story than Mike McCarthy. He's going to tell an entirely different story. Stephen Jones is going to give us the actual truth. That this has been an issue ongoing actually for 2 years. So why did he play? Why did he come back so early? I'm telling y'all, there's something going on with these Cowboys. Roberto, what's going on? Yes. Sniffing, stuttering, saying, yes. This man is a liar. And Stephen Jones is going to prove he's a liar. because Stephen Jones is going to say something totally opposite of what he said. Totally opposite. Daniel Lim said, gee, who's a better quarterback rusher? Dude, what? Man, Baker Mayfield, Cooper Rush is not even in the same conversation with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't know how y'all feel about Baker Mayfield. I would love for Baker Mayfield, and I'm not talking about taking or replacing Dak Prescott. But if Dak Prescott, let's say, was retiring, I would love Baker Mayfield to take Dak Prescott's spot. Baker Mayfield is a dog. His mentality is different. Baker Mayfield is a dog, and he can actually throw the football in all kinds of ways, can go deep. I mean, Baker is a real quarterback. Baker Mayfield is a starter in this league, and there is a reason why Baker Mayfield, because if anybody says the Cooper Rush is better than Baker Mayfield, if anybody says that Cooper Rush is better than Baker Mayfield, well, you're going to have to ask yourself again, well, why didn't 31 other teams think so? Why didn't 31 other teams think that? Because when Baker Mayfield hit the open market, teams went after Baker Mayfield both times. They went after him. They did. And in one of those times, Cooper Rush was out there too. And nobody wanted Cooper Rush. I'm telling y'all, and it's going to happen again this year. Cooper Rush is going to hit the open market. Watch the frenzy. No, you're going to hear crickets. Because nobody's going to be after Cooper Rush. Do we not realize how many quarterbacks that are going to be out there that'll be better backups than Cooper Rush? No one thinks Cooper Rush. I mean, these articles sometimes talking about Cooper Rush coming into his own. In his own? The fan base, meanwhile, is clamoring for Trey Lance. Because watching Cooper Rush play is basically like watching paint dry. And Cooper Rush, remember, the Carolina Panthers, terrible. Yeah, I know they played better down the stretch. They're terrible. Mike Zimmer was able to do something that these other teams, for whatever reason, they didn't do well. Mike Zimmer got pressure on Bryce Young. Mike Zimmer made them turn the ball over. I mean, when you win the playoff battle, you're going to win the game pretty much. 4 turnovers? That's a lot of turnovers, man. That's a lot of turnovers. Oh, hold on. You telling me also, not only is Cooper Rush going to have a tenacious defense, getting 4 turnovers for him, then you're going to come back and tell me that Mike McCarthy is going to run the ball 36 times and they're going to rush for 211 yards. I'm going to tell you that Cooper Rush is probably going to have a pretty good day. And that's exactly what happened. Now, the 1 touchdown he threw to Jalen Brooks, that was nice. Those other couple of touchdowns, kind of like, okay. But most backups can do that. Do we not realize that there's a reason why these guys make the pros? I mean, they are pretty good. It don't mean they're starting quarterbacks, but they're good enough that someone that we can see the play and go, hey, this guy can probably maybe 1 or 2 times a game, he can probably make a great throw. At least 1 to 2 times a game. And when you're beating a team the way they were beating Carolina, when you have a lead on a team like they had against Carolina, really all you need is 1 or 2 of those throws. 1 or 2 of those throws against Carolina, and the way you're running the ball, well, the game is over. The problem is, and the real test, is the Bucs. Y'all don't understand what I'm telling you, but I told you, just like I told you against the Cincinnati Bengals. I told you the Cincinnati Bengals offense, they were good. And you couldn't give them too many chances. They were good. And you look at what the Cincinnati Bengals did. The Cincinnati Bengals kind of did similar to what I said. Hey, we want Cooper Rush to beat us. He couldn't beat him. The Carolina Panthers are not a team that can afford to do that. Zimmer had a great game plan. I can tell you this. It's going to be a different story against the Bucs. I don't know if any of y'all watched the Bucs play this year. I've watched the Bucs play. They're not, again, just like Cincinnati's offense was not what the Cowboys defense was used to. Mike Zimmer could only do so much. They did a job on Higgins. They couldn't stop Jamar Chase. He's an elite receiver. And guess what? We have another elite receiver coming up again. His name is Mike Evans. He's elite. And while I'm not going to put Baker Mayfield top 10, Baker Mayfield is better than average. This dude is good. And on any given day, Baker Mayfield can be one of the best in the game. On any given day, he can be one of the best in the game. Baker Mayfield has dog in him. Baker Mayfield, to me, plays outside of his ability. When you look at Baker Mayfield, I mean, you kind of look at him like, I mean, this dude, he played quarterback, but, he ain't, you look at him like, okay, he ain't really much to look at. Oh, no, but what's on the inside of this dude, he a dog. He plays above his ability. Can take a hit. Pressure. Bothers him. Doesn't rattle him. Turns the ball over. Forgets about it. Comes back. Makes plays. Baker is different. Baker is different. Again, we're going to play a team that is not like the other teams we've been playing. Baker is different. And Baker is way better than Cooper Rush. Way better than Cooper Rush. You can't even put them in the same conversation. Dang it, you almost made you fall out that question. You ain't like, man, I almost fell out, man. That question right there, no, it ain't close. Baker and Cooper don't belong. No, they don't belong in the same breath. They're not the same. They're not the same. Yeah, they're not the same. They're not close. Nah, he won't play like trash, Marlon Brando. He's not going to play like trash. Nah. Who you better be looking out to play like trash, and who I believe is going to play like trash, is Cooper Rush. Because we keep thinking, yeah, Cooper Rush does good against these bad teams. Cooper Rush didn't even play good against the Bengals. He didn't. Rush was terrible against the Bengals. And their defense is terrible. This man was seeing ghosts against the Bengals. He's not going to see ghosts against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to see monsters. He is literally going to see monsters. And we're going to do our pregame show on the Bucs on Friday, I believe. But I've already been doing some studying on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let me tell you, this is the exact team, again, like I told you against the Bengals. And I won't give Mike Zimmer credit because Mike Zimmer keeps finding ways to pull rabbits out of the hat. But as I told y'all, it comes a time when you eventually have to line up against a team and you have to beat them. And there's not going to be no special teams play. There's not going to be a bunch of turnovers. There's not going to be no sacks. No, you either better than this team or you're not. Can you stop them or not? I want you to feast your eyes on these Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I want you to feast your eyes on this team. Because they are the exact matchup that we better be very cautious of from an offensive perspective. So I want you to look at the fact their opponent's points are 23.3 points per game. Okay, Cowboys score about 20 points per game. That's their average. They went a little bit above average last week, but this is really their average. I mean, 4 turnovers. Sorry. You get 4 turnovers, you actually should get more than 30 points. I know we don't want to hear that kind of talk, but 4 turnovers? No, you should absolutely dominate a team. I mean, it should be somewhere in the 40s. But our average, no big deal. You know why? Because they average 28.8 points a game. They average 28.8 points a game. But that's not the stat that's getting me. Yards per game, 356. Play, 5.6. Third down, 40. Fourth down, 65. Opponent's red zone scoring, 51. They're number 10 in the league. That's going to be a problem for us because we have a hard time scoring in the red zone. They're number 16 on opponent's TDs. Though, that's not the part I want you to pay attention to. Rico Dowdle is about to have his first real test. Well, I shouldn't say his first real test, but he's about to have another test. And now the test is different. Against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh was kind of like, it's early in the season. Everyone doesn't really know who you are. But once you get to this point in the season, most people know who you are. People have been paying attention to Rico Dowdle. Carolina didn't have the personnel to do it. Watch what I tell you when Tampa Bay comes into this game. Their opponent's rush play percentage is 37%. Opponent's rush yards, 4.5 a carry. Opponent's rushes a game, 24.1. Rush yards per game, 109. Opponent's rush TDs, 9. Their run defense is not too shabby. It is not too shabby. They're going to come into this game, and I guarantee you their thought process is going to be very simple. Stop Rico Dowdle. That's the game plan. I guarantee you they're saying, we dare Cooper Rush to beat us. We dare him. They know he can't throw the ball past 10 yards. If I'm playing Cooper Rush, if my defense is playing Cooper Rush, at least in the first half, Cooper Rush will have to show me that he can make tight window throws. I'm going double on CD, and I'm going extremely bump and run, tight coverage on all the receivers. I'll take my chances on Cooper Rush making those throws. I'll take my chances. If I'm Tampa Bay, Rico Dowdle at all cost. Cooper Rush will have to make me come out of single high safety. Cooper Rush will have to make me do it. He'll have to make me come out of single high safety because I'm telling you, I'm going 7, 8 in the box on some downs. Cooper Rush, you will not get a chance. You will not get a chance to sit on your hands this game. You're going to win this game, period. That's me if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what you do to a quarterback like Cooper Rush. He's the backup. He's the doggone backup. If anybody's going to beat us, that's who's going to beat us. Because if you look at their pass defense, opponent's pass play percentage, 62.5% of the times they pass, which is telling us something that teams obviously can't run on them, or they struggle to run on them. Some of these teams are probably getting a lead on. So these teams are throwing the ball more against them. Opponent's completion percentage, 66%. They're ranked number 23. Opponent's yards pass per game, 7.1. They're number 16. Opponent's passes per game, 37. Opponent's pass yards per game, 29. Opponent's interception thrown percent, 1.33. Sack percent, number 19. So, the key to the Cowboys winning this game, which I see as a disadvantage, but the key to the Cowboys winning this game is they're going to have to throw the football. It's a bad matchup. This is a very bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys because you're literally playing a team that forces you to throw the ball. So now you're going to make them revert to what Mike McCarthy wants to do because he wants to throw the ball. Problem is Cooper Rush can't throw it past 10 hardly. He can hardly throw it past 10. So this is going to be a matchup nightmare, or at least it seems. This is going to be a matchup nightmare for the Dallas Cowboys from a defensive standpoint, and when you're talking about Cooper Rush, because on the other side of the ball, you think about it, Tampa Bay, man, they run the ball. They run the ball. I mean, they're number 14 rush play percentage, rushes per play 5.2, 27.8. They're number 11 rushes per game, rush yards 144. They're number 4. They run the ball too. I give Mike Zimmer credit though. For the last 6 games, Mike Zimmer has done an outstanding job at stopping the run. I can give him nothing but credit for that. But again, what has let Mike Zimmer down this year? I told you the game before. What has let Mike Zimmer down? His secondary play. Mike Zimmer has been hurt by his secondary play. He hasn't had consistent secondary play. And even DaRon Bland, Jamar Chase, he got the best of DaRon Bland too. We're going up again against an elite receiver as in Mike Evans. And the difference in Mike Evans that kind of scares me about Mike Evans is that Mike Evans is one of those guys that goes deep down the field. My concern is not Mike Evans on DaRon Bland. My concern is Mike Evans on anybody not named DaRon Bland. Their points per game, 28.8. They put up points. Yards per game, 388. They put up yards. Points per play, number 5. Yards per play, they're number 6. Third down conversion, they're number 3. Fourth down conversion, they're number 6. I am telling you, red zone scoring, they're number 6. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, y'all, this is going to be a true matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why I don't get up on these Carolina Panthers games because I mean, come on, man. Carolina, it's Carolina. They played well on all these other teams, but at the end of the day, they still equate into losses. And again, I'm going to give Mike Zimmer nothing but credit on this team. Mike Zimmer, to me, has coached his way into another defensive coordinating job on an NFL squad this year. I don't know if it's going to be the Cowboys, but he has. Man, Michael H., hey, I'm going to tell you something, though. The thing that you're talking about, though, is the thing that I like about him. This man is a dog, man. Most guys don't come back like he did. Baker Mayfield is a dog. And I'm sorry, this dude got a bad hand handed to him in Cleveland. Cleveland is suffering right now for what they did to Baker Mayfield. I don't know, Michael H. and anybody else. Maybe y'all don't understand the context of Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played hurt. He had came off of one of his best seasons for Cleveland. Got hurt, had a bad shoulder injury. Played hurt all through that season. Nobody wanted Deshaun Watson. Nobody but the owner. The owner wanted him. The fan base didn't want him. A lot of us in the media kind of thought that Deshaun Watson wasn't what he was projected to be. Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, it's going to be studied after their careers. Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson may be 2 of the biggest bust quarterbacks we've seen. We're going to see Trevor Lawrence has got his next opportunity. Deshaun Watson has been nothing but trash. He should have never left the Houston Texans. But I think he left the Houston Texans because he knows he was doing some very shady stuff. The Houston Texans did everything they could do to keep Deshaun Watson. They offered to get him the coach that he wanted. He could have been playing. He could have been playing with the coach the Houston Texans have. He didn't want to. They rolled out the red carpet to keep Deshaun Watson, but that joker wanted to leave Houston bad. To go to Cleveland? Who does that? Who does that to go to Cleveland? The literal quarterback graveyard. Deshaun Watson went there. Baker Mayfield had turned that thing around. Baker Mayfield played hurt. Shouldn't have played hurt. Played hurt that season. Then, when Deshaun Watson became available, they chose Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield because they thought Deshaun Watson was a generational player. A lot of people thought Deshaun Watson was a generational player. I remember all the talk. People, oh, he better than Dak Prescott. How's that conversation going? Because it's not true. It's not true statistically. It's not true playoff-wise. Wins. None of that stuff. But Cleveland was enamored by Deshaun Watson. And Baker Mayfield got pushed out the door unfairly. He did. He did. I don't call that knocking his ego down as if he needed his ego knocked down. No, Baker Mayfield's ego, to me, is one of his best traits. We have to understand something, man. A man is who he is. I tell people this about me. I'm different. I'm not changing for folk. I'm too old now. I'm not changing for folk. God's already changed me, so I'm not changing for no man. You either take me or leave me. You take all of me or none of me. I'm not changing for you. And Baker Mayfield, his ego is the best thing about him. Because his ego, and this is what I like about him, his own ego holds him accountable. Men don't have to hold a guy like Baker Mayfield accountable. He is the type of player that you want on your team. His ego holds him accountable. He don't need you to hold him accountable because his ego is so big, he wants to live up to it. He wants to live up to it. You know, Lewis Bailey, it's funny, you said Cooper Rush has had a backup quarterback job longer than anyone else. You know, and I wouldn't even blaspheme him and say he's like Danny White, but why does he have the backup quarterback job longer than anyone else? Strange, isn't it? Why hasn't anyone else came and got him? Lawrence, you're asking the question right there. You're answering your own question. You said you would love to see Cooper Rush get a shot somewhere else. No, it's not that he hasn't got a shot. Do you see where you're answering your question? I mean, you're answering your question. What do you mean you want him to get a shot? And I'm not saying this in a mean way toward you, but I'm just saying, when you say you want him to get a shot, so is being in free agency, is that not a shot? Because that is the shot. That's the shot. See, Baker Mayfield hit free agency. That's the shot. That's the shot you get. You hit free agency. And then when you get on your next team, you do your thing on that next team. And that's how you get your shot. Cooper Rush, whether people realize it or not, Cooper Rush has had his shot. Cooper Rush has had his shot, and people don't understand this. Cooper Rush has fully had his shot. And don't think for a second, you tell me he hasn't had a shot. Dak Prescott, this is not Dak Prescott's first contract dispute. This is Dak Prescott's second contract dispute. So if Cooper Rush is as good as people say he is, why didn't the Cowboys take the chance on Cooper Rush and let Dak walk 2 times? Sometimes we have to ask these questions out loud. Why didn't they use Cooper Rush? Mike McCarthy said he's Rich Gannon-like. Lies. Lies. And Mike McCarthy knows it. Pure lies. I'm not comparing Cooper Rush to an all-pro Super Bowl quarterback. That is stupid. All-pro. Multiple Pro Bowl. I mean, all kinds of records. To compare Cooper Rush to Rich Gannon, his coaching license should have been revoked then. I watched Rich Gannon play. Yeah, I watched him play. Some people are too young. No. I watched Rich Gannon play. There is nothing about Cooper Rush. Nothing that reminds me of Rich Gannon. Not that Rich Gannon that went to the Super Bowl. Not the All-Pro. Not the Pro Bowl. Rich Gannon. There is nothing about Cooper Rush that reminds me. And Lawrence, you have to understand, to say that a dude has some talent, man, all these quarterbacks got talent, all of them. I have to remind my sons from time to time. Hold on a second, young man. You don't make the pros without talent. You don't make this league without talent. The issue is, though, this is a grown man league. You may have talent, but unfortunately, there's someone that's more talented. And that's the truth. That's the unequivocal truth. Because I'm telling you, if Cooper Rush was as talented as someone who people might despise, but he's talented too, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has gotten 2 shots. Why? Because Kirk Cousins, in the absence of Robert Griffin III, Kirk Cousins was actually good. He was really good. And he got opportunities. But when Troy Aikman is commentating one of your games on a prime time at a prime time slot, he's calling your game, and Troy Aikman is calling you out saying you can't throw a ball beyond 10 yards. That weighs heavily with scouts. Because Troy Aikman actually isn't telling them something that they don't know. This is not conjecture. This is fact. His body of work proves it. The tape proves it. The analytics prove it. This quarterback, Cooper Rush, is a backup. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's not a bad thing. I mean, who wouldn't want to make a living doing what they love? Even if they are not a starter. They still want the chance to back up, and maybe they get a chance. But Cooper Rush is just a backup. Bottom line. And we can't make him more than what he is. He's a backup. No, you're wrong, Marlon Brando. The problem is you're watching such a small sample size of Cooper Rush. And it's pure ignorance. And I mean that in a respectful way. This is why the scouts are smarter than you and me. Because they're not dumb enough to look at 10 games with Cooper Rush and say, hey, man, this dude is better than Dak Prescott. Because every time you tell me this, the market calls you a liar. I don't have to call you a liar. The market calls you a liar. The market calls any of you a liar if you say that Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott, because the market says you're a liar. The market says, well, then why did they even waste bringing in Trey Lance when they got a quarterback on the bench that's better than Trey Lance? Cooper Rush isn't even better than Trey Lance. I don't think he is. I think he's better up here right now. This is what he's got on Trey Lance. Trey Lance, and we don't even know if Trey Lance don't have it up here. See, what you need is once you get it up here, now you need the opportunity. See, I'm not worried about Cooper Rush's opportunity. He's already had it. Cooper Rush has already had his opportunity. because he's already been available on the free agency market. Nobody wanted him. That's your shot. You don't get to go back to the combine. For all you Cooper Rush fans, you don't get to go back to the combine. Nope. You have to get out there and do it. Somebody has to watch your tape and say, hey, you know what? We've been looking at Cooper Rush's tape, and every time he gets in for Dak Prescott, all this dude does is win. They know it's a joke. Any true football fan know this is a joke. When you look at what is transpiring around him, and what you look at is what's transpiring around him, I'm the only one I've heard reporting on this. When you look at what's transpiring around him against the weak teams, the weak teams, it tells you everything you need to know. Okay, he's okay against the weak teams. He has a 2-touchdown average against the weak teams. Facts. You can't argue with me. Facts. He typically completes somewhere around 20, 25 passes. Facts. You can't argue with me. He can't go down the field. He may have 1 or 2 of those passes in him, but his average passes are somewhere below 10 yards. He can't throw the big plays. Facts. You can't argue with me. He can't run the ball to save his life. Facts. You can't argue with me. The better the competition, the worse he is. Facts. You can't argue with me. He fumbles the ball a lot. Facts. You can't argue with me. And I'm not smarter than the scouts. They're seeing this too. Everything screams backup. How do I know this? Because he's still a backup. When Dak Prescott gets healthy, he might not even be on this team. And when Cooper Rush hits the open market, I'm waiting on the frenzy. What's going on, C-Pimp? To even think this dude is better than Baker Mayfield is crazy. You ain't seen Baker play. I know you ain't lying, because when I see Baker play, this dude's a dog. I'm going to tell you right now, and I love me some Dak Prescott. But if Cooper Rush was Baker Mayfield, man, I would have questioned the Cowboys signing Dak Prescott. I would have questioned it. I would have been like, oh, why don't you just let him compete, play, make sure he is the man with the way Cooper Rush is playing and his mentality. Cooper Rush ain't that dude, man. Yeah, I love what you said there, Revelation. I said, own the know, then own the wisdom of the know. You like D-Law doing, you just like D-Law doing with them boys, man. I'm telling you, Revelation, that boy D-Law is telling us something. He said he ain't doing what these other dudes doing. He ain't doing it. They're costing themselves their career. What's Trayvon Diggs going to be after the Cowboys? I mean, what is he going to be after the Cowboys? Jay Recruiter said Cooper Rush might never play for another team after this season. Cold hard facts. And the reason is, Jay Recruiter, these other teams are not impressed with what Cooper Rush is doing. They're looking at the talent. They're looking at the teams he's playing against. They're looking at the performances against the teams he's playing against. And they're looking at those teams and they're saying, like, man, if Dak Prescott would have been playing, and they would, if Dak Prescott was playing and the defense was playing the same way they're playing, well, this team would be, they'd have scored 50 there. And it's true. The one thing that Dak Prescott has done that Cooper Rush has not done, Dak Prescott has been efficient when this defense has been deficient. There are games. Pro Football Focus, and a lot of people, it's amazing how people want to use Pro Football Focus to fit their narratives about quarterback pressures. But then when Pro Football Focus starts talking about Dak Prescott, then they want to throw Pro Football Focus in the trash like Skip Bayless. But there has never been a time when Cooper Rush was on the field and Pro Football Focus rated Cooper Rush as the best player on the field. But there have been times when Dak Prescott has been on the field and Pro Football Focus has rated Dak Prescott as the best player on the field. Antoine Bass said Cooper Rush has a noodle for an arm. Can't scramble. We really need to find a better backup. And I think Jerry may want it to be Trey Lance. But I, for one, would like to see, I'm not interested in the Cooper Rush stuff. I mean, he's not a starting quarterback. We know this. The man's 30, about to be 31. He is not a starting quarterback, period, in the story. But Trey Lance is way more talented than Cooper Rush. His upside is better than Cooper Rush. Even if we're saying he's not a starter, it's still better than Cooper Rush. The problem with Trey Lance, his talent and his upside has actually been his worst enemy. Because it's propelled him all the way to the Dallas Cowboys. I think he'd only played one season? Maybe two in college? Hardly played any games. But because he was so big, he's not a burner like a 4'4" guy, but he's a big guy that can move. I think he's 4'6"? But he's football fast. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful. So Trey Lance, that made San Francisco, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, they had visions of grandeur. This is exactly what we've been looking for. They gave up a farm for him. He comes in. He gets to play. When he finally does get to play, he gets hurt. And I guess they didn't like what they saw then. But the Cowboys said, we'll take a chance on him. And I think when he walks in the Cowboys, unlike Cooper Rush, someone else is going to give him a chance. They are. Because his upside is better than Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush will never be anything more than what we're watching. That's it. This is it for Cooper Rush. He has hit the proverbial wall. How do we know this? He hasn't showed us anything different. But he's about to get his opportunity. Y'all say y'all want anybody who says the Cooper Rush, y'all want him to get a chance. These next 3 games, he's going to get a huge chance. He's going to get a huge chance. The Buccaneers is going to be another step up in talent that he's going to play against. Baker Mayfield is a dog. I'm telling y'all, Baker Mayfield is a dog. And Baker Mayfield, he's going to leave it out there on the field on the Cowboys. He knows this is the big stage. This is what I like about Baker Mayfield. He knows this is the big stage. He's coming to play. Baker Mayfield is coming to put on the show. I don't know if he will, because I'm going to give Mike Zimmer credit, man. He's been pulling the rabbit out of the hat. He has been. He's been pulling the rabbit out of the hat, man. This dude has basically stopped. He hasn't stopped every team cold. But what Zimmer has been able to do, he's been able to neutralize certain pieces to keep them in games. Carolina was actually no matchup. I mean, I'm sorry. I told y'all before, I would never have a quarterback as small as Bryce Young. The problem becomes with a quarterback like Bryce Young is when you get your hands on him. Can't see over the line. He has to step, his drop backs have to be extremely deep. We'll never have a quarterback that small. He's been pulling rabbits out of the hat. He has been. He's been pulling rabbits out of the hat. And he's going to, and I think he's going to have a good showing again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he's going to keep the game, at least I think he'll keep the game within a manageable, keep the game manageable. But This week, the Cowboys are going up against a better defense. They're going up against a better defense. And that spells problems for us. Because that means when we're playing a better defense, this means that the deficiencies of Cooper Rush will be illuminated even more. He had a field day against Carolina Panthers. Did you notice he didn't have that same field day against Cincinnati Bengals? They came in with a different game plan. And we're going to see the same thing against Tampa Bay. They're going to have a different game plan. But we were talking about the playoffs. I know we were talking about the playoffs. And I've already kind of made a chart. Because for me on Overreaction Monday, the big thing is everybody's talking about the playoffs. And so I've kind of been looking at this. And this thing with the Cowboys in the playoffs, I'm sorry. Man, this is a doggone headache. I don't even see how people could even look at this stuff and be like, man, I don't even see how people can look at this stuff and be talking about it's a real possibility. Paul said Rush makes the offense look like a preseason game. I agree with him. Lewis said we talk facts, Danny Cowboy. Yeah, for sure. Roberta said I'm not a Cooper Rush fan. And you know, for me, it's not even so much I'm not a Cooper Rush fan. But doggone it, man, we have to be real with who the dude is. You can't say the dude is not a backup when all he's ever been is a backup. That's all he's ever been. Gabe said, you're right, G. DeMarcus Lawrence not playing week 16. His 21-day practice window's not even open up yet. There's only 3 weeks left. Smart money. He's already played the last game for Big D. Gabe, DeMarcus said, he said it. I'm not going out like that. I was like, what was that? I knew what it meant. I'm not doing what Trayvon Diggs did. I'm not doing what Michael Gallup did. And I'm telling you, I believe that even Zach Martin said the same thing. Zach Martin said enough of this stuff. I'm no longer playing on a bad ankle looking bad for this team. No, I'm about to get ready to play for my next team. Zach Martin's not retiring. He is not retiring. Michael H. says Dak has put this team on his back many times when the defense and offense have been playing bad. Facts. Danny says miracle playoffs is here. Yeah, we about to look at that. We about to look at that. Michael said Lance needs to hone his skills. He has all the tools in the toolbox. Mike, tell me this isn't crazy. Cooper Rush threw 3 touchdowns this past game. And the fan base is still screaming for Trey Lance. What does that tell you? What does that tell us? While many people are saying, man, we about to go to the playoffs with Cooper Rush. A lot of the fan base is saying, no, we want to see Trey Lance. We don't care what we're talking about. Cut Rush or make an emergency quarterback so Lance can run the practice squad. Let's not forget they brought, man, let me tell you something. Michael H., I don't think they want to play Will Grier because I think Will Grier arguably beat out Cooper Rush that year. There are a lot of people who say Will Grier beat out Cooper Rush. I think Jerry likes Cooper Rush, and that's why he's on the team. Yeah, Daddy said Cowboys will come to play. Let's go, Cowboys. Oh, they're going to come to play because Mike Zimmer. I'm telling you, I'm not doubting. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep giving. If there's one coach on this team, I'm going to give credit. It's Mike Zimmer and this defense. I don't know. Al Harris is the defensive back coach, and that's the part where Mike Zimmer defense has been struggling. But Mike Zimmer every week has done a great job with this defense. Mike Zimmer has really been the key to Mike McCarthy seeing some success because Mike Zimmer is helping Mike McCarthy so that he doesn't have to go into the plays he has blocked out for Cooper Rush. Mike Zimmer is affording Mike McCarthy to play a very conservative game with Cooper Rush and take his shots at opportune moments. You can do that when the game is close. You can do that when you get a lead. You can do that. The problem is, think about what the Bengals did to him. The Bengals put Mike McCarthy in a chokehold. He got nervous. It was a 20-20 game with Joe Burrow on the other side. And Mike McCarthy knew, a field goal was not going to be enough to beat Joe Burrow. He knew it. He knew it. And when he put the ball in Cooper Rush's hands, I said it last week or week before last. Everyone's mad. Amani is the reason. No. Rico Dowdle rattled off a 14-yard run in the mid-fourth quarter. They couldn't stop Rico Dowdle. He was 18 for 131. Mike McCarthy didn't hand him the ball another time. He had a Pete Carroll moment. He put the ball in Cooper Rush's hands, 7 straight times? Incompletion, 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 sack, almost tackle, incompletion, incompletion. There it is. If you put him in situations to where he doesn't have to do too much, Cooper Rush can win you some games. But every time you put him in a situation to where he got to be the reason why you win a game, he doesn't win them. He's done it 1 out of 12 times? That ratio is terrible. It's not good enough. It is not good enough. And so this is why I say they're going to come to play, because Mike Zimmer give Mike Zimmer credit. Mike Zimmer has made sure, whether we give him the credit or not, Mike Zimmer has made sure in consecutive weeks this team has come to play. Because guess why? Because the defense has actually been setting. They've been setting the tempo of these games. The defense has been doing that. The offense isn't doing that. The defense is doing that. And so he's making sure they're in every game. Jerry bring Trey Lance back. I think he wants to as the backup quarterback as soon as the rest of the league rejects him. I think that's exactly what he wants to do. I think it's exactly what he wants to do, because Jerry is enamored with the skill set that Trey Lance has. Now, where I'm disappointed in Mike McCarthy, and a part of this, I should say I'm really disappointed in this ownership GM coach group. Look at what Mike Tomlin is doing. Absolutely love it. I love what Mike Tomlin is doing. Mike Tomlin is fully confident in Russell Wilson. But Mike Tomlin knows what Russell Wilson is and what he is not. And what Russell Wilson is not any longer is a runner of the football. Does anybody knows what Mike Tomlin is doing? He's not letting Justin Fields sit on the bench. He's not dumb enough to leave that talented quarterback on the bench. Why? Because he's a talented athlete. He can throw the ball, but he can run the ball too. So why not use Justin Fields in certain situations to get you a first down, to get you a big play, just for a moment, to be a change of pace, change of tempo? Why not? The Cowboys should have been doing it. The Trey Lance package was one of the best ideas they had the whole season. The problem is the Trey Lance package never materialized. And I believe one of the reasons why it did not materialize, I keep going back to the Eagles game. I'm sorry. Trey Lance was 2 steps ahead of everybody on the Dallas Cowboys team that day. It's like they had pretty much, given up on we're winning the game. Trey Lance said, no, I'm trying to win a job here. I'm trying to win a job. I mean, I'm not even talking about here. I'm trying to audition for 31 other teams. Trey Lance is playing different. And I don't understand why Mike McCarthy has not been smart enough to figure out a way to use Trey Lance. He's not sitting on the bench for me, making $5 million. That is foolishness. He's too talented. He's too talented. And there have been opportunities in these games that they have had to play play Trey Lance. And they should be doing it. But I do think what's going on with this, Lewis, is I think Jerry is trying to limit what people see of Trey Lance. And by chance, if no one picks up Trey Lance in the offseason, then he's going to bring him back as a backup. But I don't think that's going to happen. I have a feeling the people are going to I think there's going to be somebody who's going to probably give him a chance. No Cap said Baker beat him Philly this year 30-17. They are built to beat teams like Philly. They will be a tough team to play in the playoffs. And watch this. Welcome to No Cap. Their issue is because they can stop the run. Philly is a running team. They can stop the run. And they're coming to Dallas to stop the run. And they're going to dare Cooper Rush to beat them. Because you can't, it's hard to, people don't want to give Jalen Hurts his flowers, but I'm going to give them to him. Jalen Hurts is a tough out. People do not understand what Dak and this team have been doing to the Eagles over the years. No, the Eagles are a tough out. Because Jalen Hurts, to me, Jalen Hurts is one of these quarterbacks. It's like you're watching a college football game. And I'm not talking about skill-wise. I'm talking about with it's like when you're watching him, when you're watching Lamar Jackson, when you're watching Josh Allen, when you're watching Patrick Mahomes. The way they run the ball. The way they run the ball, man, it's like watching Vince Young back in those Texas days. They are true dual threat quarterbacks. There are not a lot of them in the league, even though, we got quote unquote black quarterbacks, but I don't think it's about being black. These quarterbacks, some of these guys are dual threat quarterbacks. Josh Allen, straight up dual threat quarterback in the story. Run game, big part of his game. Patrick Mahomes, even more now, which he has a high ankle sprain, is going to be a factor, at least going down the stretch. True dual threat quarterback. Lamar Jackson, dual threat quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a dual threat quarterback. And when you can shut down and beat the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, man, you can. That defense needs applause. I think Zimmer's going to do a great job. But again, the Philadelphia Eagles are a loaded team. The Bucs beat them. The Buccaneers were a loaded team. They've had some injuries. But Mike Evans, of course, is back. And so they have a very defensive-minded team. They believe in playing defense. And this is a bad matchup. Sometimes it comes down to matchups. This is a very bad matchup. A bad matchup for the Cowboys. Very bad matchup. Because now you're coming in with a defensive specialist who's basically telling you, I'm going to stop your running back. Yeah, we know he ran for 130. What did he run for this week? 149 or something like that? We know what your running back is. We know what he is. We're coming to stop your running back. Now, the Cowboys are about to get the treatment that Mike Zimmer has been putting on other teams. Mike Zimmer identifies the running back and says, hey, we're coming to stop your running back. So you go, coming to stop your running back. Yeah, we got somebody doing us like that this week. So this game is going to come down to when you get two teams that say we're going to stop the running game, then the game now comes down to what? Quarterbacks. The defense is a wash. Both of them. It's a wash. Both defenses, they're going to stop the run. That part is a wash. Both of these teams like to run. That's a wash. So if you ask me, who am I taking? Baker Mayfield or Cooper Rush? I'm taking Baker Mayfield 10 times out of 10. That's going to be an issue in this game. And so that's why I keep saying about those Bucs, man, they different. Marlon said, I realize a lot of people are Dak fans, not Cowboy fans. They want to lose because Dak isn't playing right now. I get it. No, I'm a little bit different than even those fans. I'm just realistic. This isn't about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott isn't playing. I'm being realistic. No, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are better than the Cowboys. Prove me wrong. They're better than the Cowboys. Prove me wrong. Their record is better. You are what your record says you are, according to the infamous Bill Parcells. I'm not buying Micah Parsons talking about we're better than our record. Even the Cincinnati Bengals can't claim that. Joe Burrow, I believe, your offense is better than that record, but your defense isn't. So you are what your record says you are, Cincinnati. Dallas, you are what your record says you are. This isn't just about Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush. This is also about Mike McCarthy. This is still Mike McCarthy that we're talking about. And you're talking about one side of the coin. There's another side of the coin too, that some may place you on. Some may place others on. Because I don't understand why we're the only team in the league that when our backup quarterback does his doggone job and he beats a team, why are we the team? Why are our fan base saying stupid things like, yeah, the backup's better than the starter? Stupid talk. The open market didn't show it. The contracts don't show it. The stats don't show it. Nothing shows it. Even the tape don't show it. That's the crazy part. The tape don't show it. Even the completed passes of Cooper Rush, they look like ducks. Mike McCarthy has done a better job over the last few weeks of scheming wide receivers open. He's done a better job. I mean, they've literally been running wide open on some of these passes and these 2 touchdown average that he throws. But make sure your house not made of glass when you're throwing rocks, because there is another part of this fan base. While you're saying, oh, people don't want the team to win because Cooper Rush is playing. Well, why does this fan base want the team winning when Cooper Rush is playing rather than Dak Prescott, and then start saying that he's better than Dak, and every time Cooper Rush wins, they blow it up like he's being deprived of an opportunity in this league? Nobody knows. We know better than everybody. Cooper Rush is a top quarterback in this league. Because to say that Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott, I don't even see how a reasonable person could say that. That is just unreasonable. What's going on, Kevin Howard? But I'm telling us, when you look at the playoff picture, Danny keeps talking about the miracle run of the Dallas Cowboys. And I just can't buy it. I just can't buy the run. And it's this simple. So these are the teams that the Cowboys have an issue with. So the Cowboys have 3 games remaining. They got the Bucs, the Eagles, and the Commanders. The Commanders have 3 games remaining. They have the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Cowboys. The Jets, the Rams have the Jets, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. The Seahawks have the Vikings, the Bears, and the Rams. The Bucs have the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. And then we have the Cardinals. They have the Panthers, the Rams, and the 49ers. And then, of course, we got the 49ers. They're even still in this. But here is the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. And I do not understand why are we, to call this a miracle run, it is going to be an understatement. The Cowboys have 2 games at home. So let's not even talk about anybody else on this list, just the Cowboys. So the reason why I have these games in red, green, and yellow, and I'll update this list as we go on. The numbers I have at the bottom are my projected. Hold on a second. The number on the bottom, this is my projected wins and losses. And I say projected, so hold on a second. I got to miss. So when I look at this becomes the issue that I'm seeing. Cowboys have the Bucs, the Eagles, and the Commanders. The problem with the Cowboys in this miracle playoff run, you don't even have to look at anybody else. Cowboys can't lose a game. They have 3 games, and they can't lose a game. And I only want to deal with 2 teams, because the next team I want to go to is the Commanders. Because the reality is, what everyone is fighting for is the 7th spot. There's no other spot. This is really the spot. It's the only spot that's available. It's the 7th seed. The Washington Commanders, they actually own that spot. No matter what happens, they control their own destiny. They're not like the Cowboys. They control their own destiny. And the Commanders actually control their own destiny better than any of these teams remaining. Better than any of these teams remaining. The magic number is 10. The Cowboys cannot lose, and the magic number is 10. So let me go through both of those scenarios. All of this other stuff, we really don't even have to worry about. The Cowboys are playing the Bucs at home. I have these games in red because to me, those are losses. The games I have in yellow on certain people's schedules, those are potential upset games to me. And the games in green, I believe, are the games those teams are going to win. The Cowboys, to me, have come up against a buzzsaw. You have come to a point in your schedule where you have to go undefeated against 3 other teams that are literally fighting for the playoffs also. All 3 of these teams are fighting for the playoffs. The Bucs are fighting to make sure they keep their spot. They want to make sure they keep their spot. Because their issue is when you look at it, their issue is when you look at the playoff picture. Let's look at the NFL playoff picture. The Buccaneers are in the NFC South. They have the number 3 spot. They need to keep winning simply because the Falcons, which I don't think the Falcons can make it back, but the Falcons are still only 6-7. If we're saying there's a chance for the Cowboys, then the Falcons have a chance too. Because they basically have to accomplish what the Cowboys have to accomplish. They're going to have to run all through everyone, and they got to get up there and find a way to beat the Buccaneers. You got the Rams. The Rams, they're trying to make sure they keep their spot. The Rams, in a sense, we can say they are, but the Rams are battling the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Now, the reason why this number 10, this is why I say this whole discussion is so convoluted. If this team, the Seahawks, winds up with 10 games, the Cowboys are done. even though I think Geno Smith is gone for the season. But I do believe Sam Howell is going to be able to get one win. And even then, I think the Seahawks would win the tiebreaker against the Cowboys with a 9-8 record, because they've beaten some teams that have beaten the Cowboys. And we still can't write off the Cardinals in the West. So we don't know exactly how all of this mumbo jumbo is going to turn out. Will one of these three teams wind up with 10 wins, 9 wins? So they're all battling this 3 and 4. But the real issue is, because the Cowboys can't get in this spot. They can't get in no other spot. This is the magic spot. Number 7. That's where the Cowboys, it's the only place they fit in. It's the only place they fit in. It's the only place they get in. So when you look at this, it boils down to these two teams. I don't even think we have to worry about this anymore. It really boils down to these teams. These teams will only come in if the Cowboys win out and they all wind up with 9-8 records. That's the only way any of that matters. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys do not control their destiny. This team controls their destiny, to me, better than anybody. Better than anybody on this list, other than the Rams. I think the Rams, I think it's first the Cowboys, the Rams. No, I think it's the Commanders, the Bucks, then the Rams. They three have a great control over what they can do, especially when you look at the Bucks. The Bucks, they have two home games left, but man, looking at that Saints game against the Commanders, the end of that game, whoa, very controversial. Very controversial at the end of that game. But the Bucks, they have these divisional games left. I think they'll beat the Panthers. Saints will probably still be a tough out. The Rams, Jets, I got on upset alert, but I think they should be able to beat the Jets. I think they'll be able to beat the Cardinals because it'll be at home. I think they'll beat the Seahawks with Sam Howell. So, back to these two games. These two teams. The Cowboys got the Bucks. It's going to be a very hard out. It's going to be a very hard out. It is. I just think it's going to be too hard of an out for the Dallas Cowboys, because I believe the Bucks are going to push this game, because I'm going to tell you, this is what I would do. They're going to push this game into the hands of one Mike McCarthy and Cooper Rush. Mike McCarthy, once you get him in a situation to where he has to start dealing with ties, leads, like a team gets a lead. When you get him in situations, Mike McCarthy, terrible in situational football, terrible at clock management, he panics. And I'm telling you, he's terrible at this stuff. This coaching staff, other than Mike Zimmer, they've shown it all season long, even Fausel, all these fake punts, this dumb stuff they do. Situational football is an Achilles heel for this team. And the Bucks, this is not going to be a Carolina Panthers. They're going to get up on a touchdown. It's not going to be that game, I'm telling you. This might resemble the Cincinnati Bengal game, or even worse. I see a scenario where the Bucks may actually get up on the Cowboys. I think they may actually get the lead. And when they get the lead or they get up on the Cowboys, you're going to watch Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that I call him, Mike McCarthy. He's going to come back he's going to come right back out. He's going to go pass happy. And the moment this team goes pass happy, the Bucks are going to get them. I find this game to be a problem for them. Let's say they beat the Bucks. I just cannot see this team beating the Eagles. The Eagles are too loaded for the Cowboys. Divisional game or not, the Eagles, it's not just the Cowboys. The Eagles are too loaded for a lot of teams right now. The Eagles dismantled the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dismantled them. Wow. Jalen Hurts went out there. People can say anything they want to say about Jalen Hurts. He is a true dual threat quarterback. He can do what he needs to do when he needs to do it. He can hand it off. He can run it. He can throw it. He can goal line you. He can throw it deep. 3 to 4 times a game, he'll make a throw that just makes your head go spin around. Jalen Hurts can do all that. I cannot see the Cowboys beating the Eagles. And if they beat the Eagles, so you're telling me they're going to beat both of these teams. If you tell me the Cowboys beat both of these teams, I'm probably going to have to get on the playoff bandwagon too. Because to beat these two teams back to back, and you're going into the belly of the beast in Philly, who knows what the weather will look like? You're telling me we're going down there, and you think they were fired up in Dallas. You wait till we get them in Philly. I find it hard to believe when we talk about this Cowboys playoff run that they're going to beat two very good teams. One of these teams is elite. You're going to beat a good Bucs team, and you're going to beat an elite. A lot of people keep talking about the man. For us Dallas Cowboy fans, but we have got to get in reality. We got to stop talking about these Eagles, talking about they're going to fold. Like, no, man, this team is built to win. We have got to give Howie Roseman credit because our GM is terrible. Their GM is fantastic. He is arguably, top 3 GM in the league? He has built a super team around Jalen Hurts. He's built a super team around Jalen Hurts. They're built to win. They're built to actually beat the 2023 Cowboys. Unfortunately, we're not the 2023 Cowboys anymore. They're built to beat the 2023 Cowboys, which was better than this team we have right now. He built this team to win, to beat the Cowboys, and he built this team to go back to the Super Bowl. They're loaded. They're loaded. And if we beat these two teams, one game at a time, they beat these two teams, I'll have to get on the bandwagon. And the reason why I have the Commanders on here as a win for the Cowboys is not for the reason that you think. Because when you start for the reason that you think, let me go to the Commanders. Because this is what the Cowboys only thing the Cowboys can be worried about is the Commanders. The magic number is 10 for the Commanders. By hook or crook or help from the league, they got it yesterday. They got number 9. One more game and the Cowboys are done. There's no more conversation. Cowboys win out or not, it doesn't matter. If the Commanders win one game, it's over. It's over. It don't matter what the Cowboys do. Once the Commanders hit 10, the Cowboys are done. I have this Eagles game on upset alert. I have this game on upset alert for a reason. This game is going to be in Washington. It's going to be in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be in Washington. It's a division game. Sometimes these divisional games are weird. I don't think the Commanders are going to beat the Eagles because I do think the Eagles are too high-powered for the Commanders. I got that on an upset because they could. I doubt it. Don't think it's going to happen. But I think this is the magic game for the Commanders. I think the Commanders, if they don't beat the Eagles, which I think they will ferociously, I think they're going to give the Eagles everything they can because I think they want to do it with the Eagles. They do it with the Eagles, all the other games don't even matter. If they beat the Eagles, they hit the magic number 10. They're in. The wild card race is done officially. They will solidify the 7th spot. And I'm sure Dan Quinn is telling them that. The only problem I have is the Eagles. The Eagles are also playing for something now. They got something to really play for. I believe the Eagles may squeak out the number 1 seed. I think the Eagles may squeak it out. And so they're going to be playing with a mindset of, we got to win out now because we got to get that number 1 seed. Boy, the Eagles are absolutely reeling. The Eagles have lost Montgomery for the season. The NFL is a battle of attrition. Who can be the healthiest down the stretch? It's a battle of attrition. The Eagles were hurt kind of early, mid. They're getting healthier down the end. Cowboys, they just keep getting hurt. The Eagles are built to win, and they're built to win in December. They're built to win in the playoffs. I'm concerned about the Commanders in that game. I think the Eagles are going to win it, but it's a divisional game. I put it in yellow. But I believe the Commanders will get it with the Falcons game. I believe they're a little bit better than the Falcons. We may actually see Michael Penix Jr. by this time, if he's not already playing. I think the Commanders will beat the Falcons, and the Cowboys game, I don't think it'll mean much to the Commanders. It depends upon how they approach it. I was thinking that if they beat the Falcons, they'll get that 10 win. They'll lock down that 7th spot. They'll play the Cowboys in the first quarter, and then they'll rest up their team and get ready for the first playoff game. But you never know. Dan Quinn may want to beat the Cowboys. He may consider the Cowboys a playoff game. He may want redemption, or he may want revenge for them beating them in Washington, and he may actually come to play, and he may say, no, we're going to beat the Cowboys. So you look at all 3 of the last 3 Cowboys games, and Lord forbid, well, I shouldn't say Lord forbid, because I know some people say they want the Commanders to lose these 2 games. Well, if the Commanders lose those 2 games, then the Cowboys and Commanders game does mean something. And so if you're telling me that the Cowboys are going to beat 3 teams, all 3 of these teams, all 3 of them, you think about the Commanders, they really only have 2 teams. They really, to me, only have 2 teams that are in the playoff consideration. No one, I believe, is considering the Falcons. I just don't think anybody's considering the Falcons. The Cowboys, maybe, depending upon what happens with the Bucs. But the Commanders, it's just like the teams that they're playing. The Falcons, to me, is the game that you say, you know what, we can get this Falcon game. It's at home. They're on a downward spiral. Cowboys aren't playing any of those teams. The Bucs are playing some of the best football they're playing the whole season. The Eagles are playing at an elite level. The Commanders have got back on a win streak, even though, boy, that Saints win, that was crazy. The Cowboys are playing other teams with a sense of urgency. They really are. And these teams, to me, are better than the Cowboys. They're better. I mean, that's not hatred. They're better. They're better than the Cowboys. Currently, anyway. They're better than the hurt current Cowboys. So, I'm telling you, Danny, you have labeled it right. I'm going to give you credit for labeling it right. You have labeled it right. It is the miracle Dallas Cowboy playoff run, because that's exactly what it's going to be if they go. It's going to be a literal miracle because of the collapse of all these teams. What will have to happen for them? And I will, one of the things has already kind of happened. When you start thinking how the Seahawks, looks like Geno maybe is gone for the season. But that isn't really enough of a domino to fall. I mean, everything hinges on if they beat the Bucs. do they beat the Bucs? Because when you put a team in a situation to where they can't lose, man, that is a tough road to ride down. Antoine says the wide receivers has to be Super Bowl heroes when Cooper Rush is under center. Absolute facts. Everyone has to play out of their minds. Jared says, check the comment section in one of your Cooper Rush videos. Some said that Cooper Rush was better than Dak. Man, I saw that crazy stuff, Jared. I saw some of it already. I was laughing. Man, the foolishness, though, it won't stop. But I don't even, you know what? It's just foolishness. Opinions don't matter to me. There is nothing. And this is even the scouts see this. There's nothing that shows that Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott. Nothing. Gabe said Cooper Rush was smart to feed CeeDee Lamb early and often. Panthers couldn't cover him. CeeDee got 2 TDs and got most of Cooper Rush yards even on bad throws. Yeah, he almost got him killed on a couple of throws. Running game opened it up. It was the perfect storm. Yep, and it was the Carolina Panthers. They were terrible at the pass, stopping the pass. It was the perfect storm. Exactly. Nisi said for the past 30 years, the Joneses has shown that they are not football guys. They have created a starter football team. After 4 years, they don't sign players. Nisi, it is absolutely insane. It looks like they're about to do the same thing with Micah Parsons that they did with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. But for me, Micah Parsons deserves it. Running his mouth talking about there's no difference between 40 million and 30 million. I would never say something that crazy, especially when you're talking about the Joneses. That is absolutely crazy. Lewis says, yeah, G, that ain't how Dan Quinn lost Super Bowl by not running. Ain't that how Dan Quinn lost the Super Bowl by not running the ball? And you think about what happened on that Super Bowl team. It's amazing how Kyle Shanahan loves to run so much now because he was the coach. He was the OC. He was the OC. Big Sarge said, I don't believe that Jerry is enamored with Trey Lance. He just doesn't want to be seen as a bad talent evaluation. Hey, I tell you this. The fan base is clamoring for Trey Lance. And I don't know, Big Sarge. I'd like to see more. But I can tell you this. What I saw from Trey Lance in the preseason, I still say he just needs reps. And this is a perfect time to give him reps. Michael says some people are trying to shade Tomlin. Dude has never had a losing season. Even when it looks like they're tanking. He coached them out of it. Yep, because he ain't putting up with it. Tomlin ain't putting up with foolishness. And I wish that Mike McCarthy would take a page out of his book. Because what Tomlin is doing right now with Russell Wilson, and now even using Justin Fields. And imagine what's going to happen in the playoffs. Man, Justin Fields better get ready. Justin Fields will be playing about 20 to 30 plays a game, I bet you, in the playoffs. Because run games and defense is what you really want to dominate with in the playoffs. And I'm not going to be surprised if they go into that playoff game and try to dominate. I mean, try to really grind teams out in the playoffs with a run game. Baker Mayfield doesn't need to be great to outplay Cooper Rush. He actually doesn't. I mean, he just got to stay within himself because he's got a defensive coordinator too that's going to try to put the game in his hands. They're going to try to serve the game up in his hands on a silver platter too because they're going to run the ball too. They're going to run smash mouth at the Cowboys. They're going to set up the play action. I'm telling you, this is why for me, everybody talking about Cooper Rush gets his opportunity. This is where you get your opportunity. We're going to get to see you in prime time. We're going to get to see you against the Bucs, the Eagles, and to be determined on the Commanders. Who knows? The Commanders do a 2-game slide. You do a 2-game win streak. that game becomes a playoff game, it'll be another primetime game. So Cooper Rush, the legend, will get to continue. The legend will get to continue. And then we'll even see him in the playoffs. I mean, everybody keeps saying it's going to be a magical run. Well, let's let it be magical then. Let's let it be magical. Robert, what's going on? He says younger coaches are starting to take advantage of older coaching tendencies to only do what worked once upon a time. That's a reason. You think about it. McCarthy, he can't hold a candle to Matt LaFleur. Spanked him. Spanked him, man. Spanked him. These young guys are taking some of these old concepts and they're sprucing them up, adding some wrinkles, putting some modern twist on them. Let's keep it 100, guys. Cooper Rush. Hey, Jared, I won't go. This is me with Cooper Rush. He's a backup quarterback. That's what he is. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. He looks good against bad teams. He looks terrible against good teams. It would be different if he looked good against good teams and lost. But he looks terrible against good teams. Terrible. Everything gets exposed. The foolishness Big Sarge says was to trade a 4th round for Trey Lance. Stephen Jones still won't give that up. Stephen Jones still won't give it up. I think it was dumb too. And I also think it was dumb to do it for Jonathan Mingo. I mean, you give up a 4th rounder again. But it seems like to me that Jerry has a plan to get that 4th round pick back. So we'll see what happens with Jonathan Mingo. But Jonathan Mingo, it's a shame because of the player Cooper Rush. Jonathan Mingo is going to look like a bust. There are people who are already saying he's a bust because Cooper Rush can't get him the ball. And this is another problem I have with McCarthy. He just can't seem to figure out ways to, I mean, how have you not yet figured out a way to get Jonathan Mingo in? It went from the Jonathan Mingo package to absolutely nothing. So we're saying Jonathan Mingo is that bad. I'm not buying it. Michael H., I can sort of understand if teams won't tape on Lance, then let them give Jerry his $5 million. Yeah, something's up with the Trey Lance stuff. But Jerry don't want to see it. Stops. You talking like Parsons. We come to play. We them boys. I haven't doubted we're not going to come to play, Danny. But we got to stop discounting that other teams aren't coming to play. They're both coming to play. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming to play, Danny. Just like the Cowboys are. I'm giving Mike Zimmer credit. Mike Zimmer is the key. He will have his defense ready. Mike Zimmer is the key, not Mike McCarthy and Cooper Rush. Zimmer is the key. Because we don't know what Mike McCarthy will do. He ran the ball 40 times last week. But he's not consistent. That's what we know about Mike McCarthy. Zimmer has been consistent. Zimmer will have this defense ready to play. And Zimmer will keep this game close as long as he possibly can. Zimmer will do that. He's going to keep it close. Zimmer knows what Cooper Rush is. Zimmer knows he doesn't want a shootout. He doesn't want a shootout with the Bucs. He knows they can't win a shootout. The Cincinnati Bengals game showed it. You give both quarterbacks one last drive to see who wins the game. Cooper Rush not only got one drive, he got 2 drives. He couldn't score. Joe Burrow got 2 opportunities. And he scored. He scored. Ball game. End of story. Zimmer is smart and wise enough to know. And even Mike McCarthy is smart enough to know now. Hey, man, we got to make sure we don't put Cooper in situations to where it's got to be a shootout. We got to put him in a situation where we don't need any 4th quarter heroics. We got to put him in a situation to where it's not in his hand to win. They tried it. It didn't work. The Bucs are coming to play just like we're coming to play. And I believe that Zimmer is going to have his defense ready. I do. And if Zimmer can keep this game close, if Zimmer can keep the points down, And if Mike McCarthy will stick to running the ball 36, 40, 45 times, Cooper Rush, 20, 25 throws max, you'll be in position to win this game. You might even win it. You might even win it. Yeah, very one-dimensional. I mean, you'll win it. You might even win it if you can do it like that. But I'm telling you, man, what the Bucs are going to do, because they're built for a team like the Cowboys. You stop them. You stop the run, and you put it in the hands of the quarterback. And if your quarterback isn't dynamic, if he can't run, if he can't scramble, he's going to be a sitting duck. What's going on, Wicked? I agree with Rex Ryan, though many are killing him for saying Justin Fields gives Steelers the best chance in tough games. Mike Tomlin is genius. I love what he's doing. Keep implementing Justin Fields into the game plan. Keep imputing him into the game plan. As you get closer to the playoffs, you keep him ready, because the one thing you don't want to happen, you don't want Russell Wilson to go down and Justin Fields hasn't been involved the whole season. Keep him involved. Keep him involved. Keep him playing. Keep him in the game plan. Keep him contributing. Russell Wilson stays healthy, man, you got something going. You have a 1-2 punch at quarterback, or basically an extension of the running game. Because I'm pretty sure, Russell ain't tripping. Russell is an old dog. Russell ain't tripping. He enjoying the game right now. He's glad to be away from Denver and Sean Payton disrespecting him. He's glad to be away from that. So Russell is enjoying himself right now. It don't bother Russell for Justin to come in, because I've noticed Russell Wilson is being the perfect mentor to Justin Fields. Arm around him, always talking to him, joking and playing, always encouraging him. Because Russell is understanding something, man. I've had my time. I might be one and done with this team. I might be one and done. So if I'm going to be one and done, then I'm going to have some fun. We're going to win. We got a good team. And whatever can help us win, I want that to happen. And so Russell, man, he got no problem with what Justin Fields is doing, because Russell views it as an extension of the running game, because that's really what it is. It's an extension of the running game. It's the possibility of big plays. It helps the team. Russell is being a true leader in every sense of the word. Russell Wilson is being a true leader. Whatever's best for the team. Whatever's best for the team. And Mike Tomlin is that kind of coach that instills that type of stuff. So, hey, it's genius what he's doing. Roberta said, me too. I like watching Jalen Hurts. I mean, hey, Roberta, I'm just telling you, I know a lot of folks don't like the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not a Philadelphia fan either. But I can tell you this. I'm just speaking facts. That's a good team. That's a super team. And with the injuries that the Detroit Lions, that they keep incurring every week, this is a battle of attrition. What team is the healthiest and the hottest going down the stretch? The healthiest and the hottest. When I look at the healthiest, and you look at everything that's happening in the NFC, it's the Eagles and the Vikings. It's the Eagles and the Vikings. If I look at who's the hottest, it's the Eagles and the Vikings. You got the Bucs. You got the Rams. You can include the Cowboys if you want to. I'm not going to include them as a hot team. But some people keep talking about this playoff thing for the sake of the fact that some people want to believe it. But when you look at the hottest and the healthiest, this battle of attrition, the Eagles are one of those teams, and they're winning it. They were hurt early, got healthy late. Here we are. They're hot. They're a hot team, and they're healthy. And so this playoff thing, it's gonna be a great playoffs. I'm gonna hate the fact the Cowboys are not in it, but it's gonna be a great playoffs. Gabe said, I think Michael's going to struggle against the Bucs. You better believe it. You better believe he's going to struggle. Tackles Tristan Wirfs and Luke G on the other side, plus mixtape. Baker's not afraid to run the ball, and they use plenty of motion, which throws the Cowboys D off. And Michael Parsons struggles against good teams, good tackles. He does. Again, he's undersized. He doesn't beat those battles. He doesn't win a lot of those battles. This team is a speed-built team. We're a team, to me, that's built to play with a lead. We're not a team that when you get us in a game to where we have to grind it out, we just don't do well on those type of games. We're one of these teams, to me, we're all or nothing. We're all or nothing. Even with Dak, winning all the games we won with Dak. Notice a lot of those games we lost with Dak. And it wasn't Dak why we lost those games. We lost those games because we're not built mentally nor physically for grinded out games. Our situational football is terrible. Our clock management is terrible in grinded out games. And when you talk about situational football, that's even in the play calling. In our play calling, you think about what some of these great coaches do. I watch Ben Johnson, for example, when he gets in situational football. He doesn't panic with his play calling. As in, he doesn't try to make Jared Goff, even in a panic moment, he don't try to make him do too much. He don't start trying to say, hey, Jared Goff, you know, this is a very critical moment in the game, so we're going to need you to throw the play. We're going to run a play that maybe you're not very familiar with, but we got to run this play because we think it's our best chance. He doesn't tell Jared Goff, hey, we're going to need you to turn to, we're going to need you to scramble out and run and scramble for 15, 20 yards. We're going to need you to do those types of things. No, Ben Johnson's real smart. Wait, hold on. I see Jared Goff. He kind of cracking a little bit. Let me settle him down. Let me give him some easy throws. Let me get him a screen. Let's run the ball 3 times in a row. Let me settle him back down, reel him back in, get his mind back focused in the game. Now, let me unleash him one more time. Ben Johnson gets in situations, man. You got to look at how guys call plays in situations because that lets you know what kind of coach you're dealing with. Situational football is vital. Vital. That you don't panic when the rubber meets the road. No, you figure out the plays. You have a group of plays that you say, these are the plays we run in these moments. Get the quarterback familiar with those plays. Stay in his ear. Keep him leveled. Keep the running game. Let him be the general on the field. You be in his mind, his mentality, and you all control the game together. Situational football is where you control everyone. You think about what happened with Amani. They said that wasn't a called block play, a called block punt, and everyone says it's his fault. Everyone knows this is a schoolyard, blah, blah, blah. Hold on a second. Let me tell you what coaches do, great coaches. They're always aware of the situation. They're looking at the clock. They're looking at what's the pace of the game. Kind of what's going on. What's my quarterback looking like? What's my defense looking like? What's going to happen if we do this? And they're thinking situational football. And they're thinking that, okay, so this is us. We got the ball at this point in time. So I'm thinking, for example, me, okay, Cooper Rush is my quarterback. What does Rico Dowdle's stats look like? Oh, he's 18 for 131, coach. And at that time, he's somewhere around, 18 for, I don't know, 118, something like that. What is he looking like? Yeah, coach, he's 17 for 114 or whatever, 115, 116. All right, I know what I'm going to do. This is a very pivotal moment in the game. It's 7 minutes to go. Can we put together a drive that can run all the time off the clock? Give Joe Burrow very little time on the clock. Put him in a pass situation to where Michael Parsons can pin his ears back and maybe he can go get him on a play. They can't stop Rico Dowdle. Let's run Rico till they stop him. Let's run him till they stop him. And then if they can't stop him, 4 or 5 runs, we want to run the time off the clock. We want to run it all the way down to the last second between every play. And then maybe if we run Rico 4 or 5 times in a row and they keep thinking we're going to run, maybe we can get them in a second and short. And then we'll let Cooper Rush hit him on a play action down the field. And if we get that, we get it. But if not, we're going to keep grinding it out. But whatever we do, we have to make sure we're not going to let them get the ball back with a lot of time on the clock. That's situational football. Know what's going on. Mike McCarthy at times loses track of that. He loses track of that stuff. He's terrible at that. And that's one of the reasons for me, I don't care what Dak Prescott is saying. I like Dak Prescott, but I can't do the Mike McCarthy stuff anymore. Mike McCarthy, this was his MO with the Green Bay Packers. He'll win you a lot of games, but he only had 1 Super Bowl over there with Aaron Rodgers. And I just think that's crazy when you got a quarterback of that caliber and you only got 1 Super Bowl with all the time he was with him. That is crazy. Crazy work to me. Crazy work to me. Michael said he'll take the passing game from the Bucs over ours. Yeah, I think their passing game is a lot more talented than ours. A lot more talented than ours, I do. Michael said they're not running. They're not running the table. I'm telling you, man. Everybody said they running the tables. Matthew Curtis said they're not gonna get it done. And you know, Matthew Curtis, it's not really hatred what you're saying. I mean, the facts is they haven't done it before. They haven't. Gabe said they saw Geno Smith's knee looks okay. It's not that serious. It's optimistic. He can play against the Vikings. Whoa, that's crazy work. I thought he was gone for the season. Okay. Yeah, hey, Danny, you named it perfectly. The Dallas Cowboys miracle playoffs. You have named it perfect. This is going to be a miracle. It's going to be a miracle. Mike Zimmer's outdated. I respect him. What's going on, Mills? But we need a defensive coordinator under the Jim Johnson, Steve Spagnuolo, Todd Bowles tree. I'll give him credit, though. Mills. Zim has done more with less, man. And the thing that has betrayed him this season to me has been the passing defense. His secondary play hasn't been that good. I want to see what it looks like with Al Harris, even though I'm thinking now Al Harris is the defensive back coach. And they have been suffering, even though Trayvon Diggs has not been the same. I said this the other day, Mike. You said if the Cowboys, if you bet the Cowboys run the table, that Vegas giving you the side eye. Hey, I tell you this, man. You mess around and go bet, man. You mess around and bet. I don't believe in gambling, but boy, you mess around and you bet a significant amount of money on the Cowboys running the table, and the Cowboys run the table, man. Boy, you done set yourself up for life. Mills said, I live in Philly. Actually, the Steelers beat themselves. It was about a 20-20 tie. The Birds were struggling to pick it up, picking up T.J. Watt and Highsmith. Yeah, I saw that part too. But I'll tell you this, man. Hey, man, that boy Jalen Hurts is resilient, man. He's resilient. And by hook or crook, yeah, they beat you. Hey, Pittsburgh's a good team. I've already said I think they're one of the top teams over there in the AFC. And I think they're going to be a dangerous out for any of those teams over there. But Philly is a dangerous team over here in the NFC, and they're going to be dangerous for any of the teams over here. Mills said he thinks it's 7-10 or 6-11. Marlon Brando, let's see. Michael says between Saquon and Push Tush, not gonna lie, happen. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that boy Jalen, got to give Jalen some credit this year, man. He's been playing pretty good. Marlon Brando said, I see just as many. Man, you know what? I don't think there's as much Cooper Rush hate as I think what people don't like about Cooper Rush. When people start trying to, like for me, I'm not a Cooper Rush hater because there's nothing I've said about Cooper Rush that isn't true. What have I said about Cooper Rush isn't true? He averages 2 touchdowns per game. Facts. You can't argue it. He's a fumbler. You can't argue it. You can't argue he beats bad teams. But when you look at the good teams, the better the team, the worse he is. It's fact. You can go look at it. This isn't conjecture. It's not made up. He was terrible in the Cincinnati Bengals game. I mean, Cooper Rush has actually been terrible in wins. How do you register less than 100 yards passing and your team wins the game? How do you do that unless your defense is playing out of its mind? How do you do that? Cooper Rush gets a lot of credit for great defensive play. You look at that score and you say, hey, man, Cooper Rush, man, it's 30-14. Did you look at how many turnovers they had? I mean, their defense played out of their minds. And I think for some people, when people start talking about Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott, when someone is saying that's not true, that's not hate, that's the truth. Cooper Rush is not better than Dak Prescott. That's a very ignorant statement. And when someone says that, and the reason why I use the word ignorant, it's ignorant because you have to ignore. How does the backup be better than a second-team all-pro quarterback, MVP runner-up? That's insane to say that. That's literally insanity. And to base that off of such a small snapshot is ludicrous. It is ludicrous. And that's one of the reasons why Cooper Rush is still a backup, because anyone with sense and eyes who's watching the tape and looking at his performances, even against bad teams, they're looking at Troy Aikman exposed this man on national TV. He can't throw the ball hardly past 10 yards. Every now and again, he'll get you 1 or 2 of those. For the most part, he can't do it. That's not hate, that's fact. Dak has shown us he can do all that stuff and more. I think what's going to be proven about Dak is that Dak has actually been, I think Dak might have been hurt a little bit more than people want to admit. Gabe said the Eagles are Cooper Rush's kryptonite. Boy, you better believe it. He can't beat them in Philly, and Vic Fangio's going to deal up the pressure, and Rush will fold like cheap. You know what? They are the team that has really exposed him bad. Bad. Both times. Bad. And I think the Bengals exposed him bad too. Exposed him bad. And everyone's mad because he didn't get a play, quote unquote, that would have helped him win like he's been getting. Oh, he get exposed. The better the competition, the more he gets exposed. Yeah, Eagles can go all the way, boy. That hurts my soul to admit it. It's true, bro. It's true. It is true. He can go. That team he has a super team around it. He does. Marlon says Rush had just had the best game by Dallas Cowboys quarterback this season. Against the Panthers, man? Stop it. That's ludicrous talk. This is the stuff that make people hate a person. This is insane talk. It was the Panthers. Insane talk. Now, if you tell me he does that against the Eagles, you got a better, you have a way better argument. If he does it against the Bucs, you're going to have a little bit of a better argument. That's literal insanity, though. You're talking about the Panthers. You fall into the category of a Dak hater because you can't even be real with yourself. It's the Panthers. Even everybody in the media, I've noticed people in the media have not been saying the stupid stuff that some of the Cowboy fan base are saying. They're all saying it's the Bucs. I've been listening. I listened to Nightcap. Ocho Cinco was like, come on, man. It was the Panthers. Duh. You run the ball for 211 times and get 4 turnovers. You better win the game. Because your play action is probably working all day long because they really had no answer for Rico Dowdle. That is the kind of talk right there. It's insane. It's insane talk. It's insane talk. Roberto said the weather's cold. Yeah, it's going to be a tough out. If Daniel is feeling himself, the Eagles will be very beatable. I'm telling you, man, the Commanders they control their own destiny. All they have to do is win one game. They get 2 chances, both of them at home. Then by the time they see the Cowboys, it won't even matter. It won't even matter. All they have to do is beat the Cowboys. All they have to do is beat the Falcons or the Eagles. And I think they're going to have a great chance. I think they're going to have a great chance at beating the Falcons. I really do. I think they're going to have a great opportunity at beating the Falcons. And so that's why for me, when we start talking about this Cowboys run, I just can't buy it. I cannot buy it. I'm actually laughing at Marlon Brando, and I'm not going to get into this long discussion about the Buccaneers and all of this stuff. I'm sorry. You can tell me anything you want to. The Buccaneers are better than the Cowboys. You can tell me what division that the Buccaneers have played in all day long. The Buccaneers are better than the Cowboys right now. Right now, there's no argument. The Buccaneers have suffered from injuries too during this season. But when you look at the Buccaneers beat the Lions 20-16. The Buccaneers beat the Lions 2016. Marlon Brando, tell me what did the Lions do to the Dallas Cowboys? What they do? This is the Lions with all of their players. Marlon Brando, tell me what they did. I'm not listening to you talk about they play in a terrible division. The Buccaneers have beat the Lions. The Buccaneers have beat the Eagles 33-16. Did we do that? The Buccaneers have beat some good teams. The Buccaneers have actually been in some very good games to some good teams that they've lost. I've watched some of these games, and they were in these things to the end. They were in it against the Ravens. They were in it against the Ravens. They were in it against the Chiefs. When you look at these overtime games, the Buccaneers could easily have 10 wins on their schedule. You look at the fact they lost to the 49ers by 3, and this is with injuries. Injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Don't tell me the Buccaneers have played in a weak division. Man, the Buccaneers have overcame some things too. The Buccaneers have absolutely overcame some things. The Buccaneers have spanked some very good teams on their schedule. They beat the Chargers. The Buccaneers, I don't know what you're talking about. The Buccaneers are literally 2 or 3 plays from being about 3 games better than what they are. They've had some serious injuries on offense, and they still kept on rolling. In this Chiefs game, they didn't even have their offensive weapons, and they were still in that game. If Andy Reid hadn't unleashed Kareem Hunt on them, I don't think they win that game. No, the Buccaneers are a very good team. I don't know what you're talking about. When I hear people start talking like that, I know right now that there's something that you're not talking with facts. You're trying to prove an opinion. No, Baker Mayfield has really played well this season. He's played extremely well, division or not, and they have beat some very good teams that we would not be able to touch with a candle. Cooper Rush played against the Eagles. What that look like? What did he look like against the Eagles? We've seen that. We've seen that. We saw our team against the Lions with our starting quarterback. They beat the brakes off of us. I'm telling you, man, we're talking crazy sometimes when we start talking in these discussions. And this is why a lot of times I don't like to get into some of these discussions, because people start making them so opinionated, and then people don't want to be objective. They want to be subjective. No, the Buccaneers is a good team. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not. And if the Cowboys beat them, well, they beat a good team. They have. And that's why I say if they beat the Eagles and they beat the Bucs, well, I guess we're going to have to change our tune on the bandwagon, because we're going to have to change our tune, because something must have happened to where this team has really made a step. So I'm not ready to go there with this team. It's one game at a time. They got to get over the Bucs. That's why I'm not even with all this playoff talk. They just got to get over the Bucs first. Lewis Daly said the Dallas Cowboys coaches are terrible at making adjustments during games. Lewis, I don't understand this. I just haven't seen this phenomenon of how people go crazy when we beat bad teams. But then when we get beat by good teams, it's like we change our whole tune. I mean, it's like we're bipolar. We lose our minds over the Cincinnati thing. We buy into the bandwagon. We go nuts, blah, blah, blah. Then we come back and we beat a bad Panthers team. And then we back on the Super Bowl road. What's going to happen if the Bucs beat us? I mean, I'm telling you, man, there's a part of this fan base to me that's a reflection of this owner. Very up and down. Very up and down. It's just crazy talk to me. Roberta said, I know we need the ghost of Tom Leonard to enter Mike's body for a little while. Yeah, that's the ticket. Man, something got to enter his body, because I can tell you now, at the rate that he's going, the sad part is, though, he's probably going to be the coach here next year. I just think the Cowboys need a change. Richard, what's going on? He said maybe Mike wins the trust of players to stay, but we'll do the Green Bay mistake. But we will do the Green Bay mistake again. You know, this is one of the reasons why I would let Mike go. You ever been at a job? You ever worked at a job where everybody liked the boss? Everybody liked the boss. And you'll notice when everybody liked the boss, the hardworking folks suffer. You ever notice that? Because when everybody liked the boss, a lot of times people like the boss for a reason. They might like him because he lets them wear their earphones doing work. They might like him because he'll let them call in from time to time. They like him because he'll let them slack off from time to time. They like him because, if they make a mistake, he'll go to bat for them from time to time. I mean, you get people who like these type of bosses, very likable guys. Likable guys that you like them, but then you'll also notice that as far as your department goes, or as far as your employment, as far as the place goes, that there may be outside complaints. People may say the customer service isn't good. The numbers aren't necessarily all that good. And then when people come down on the balls and people start having rumors, they might replace the manager so-and-so, and everybody get the tearing up. Ooh, we love him so much. He came to my house during Thanksgiving. You ever work for a boss like that? I have. But there's a difference, because I've also worked for a boss that everybody respected. And when everybody respects a boss, everybody don't like him. But they respect him. They respect her. They respect him. They respect them. Why? Because they treat everyone fair. They're always the same, good or bad, up or down. But if you have a moment you need to talk to them, they'll talk to you. But they always shoot straight with you. They always go by the rules. They always make sure that you're doing the best you can do. They stay on you about things. And you'll notice about bosses you respect, boy, you are much less likely to call in on them. You don't call in on them bosses you respect, but you'll call in on them bosses you like. Oh, hey man, that's old so-and-so, man. That's my dog, man. If I call in, he ain't gonna trip. He know me. You don't dare call on that one you respect, do you? Hey, man, you can't call in on her. Why? Man, you call in on her, man. Hey, she want doctor's notes. And if you do it too much, she'll get somebody to replace you. I saw her do it to somebody else, and then your hours will get cut. You ever notice you don't slack on them ones you respect? No, every moment you're thinking, man, because they demand excellence. And then you'll notice something about yourself, even how much better you are. And you will respect them and even grow to love them, because you'll look back and you'll go, man, you brought the best out of me. Hey, Miss Lady, you brought the best out of me. You got me a promotion because of my performance, my work. That's what people who you respect, that's what they bring out of you. And my fear, and this is why I wouldn't be listening to these players. I'm watching one thing on the inside of how they're talking about Mike McCarthy, but I'm watching another thing of how they're complaining and things that they're saying that's showing me you have a coach that you like, but you don't like the way he coaches. Dak Prescott loves him some Mike McCarthy. I don't think he likes the way he coaches. Practicing is on the coach. Staying on players is on the coach. Troy Aikman said, I'm tired of being the bad guy. When are the coaches going to start coaching? I think the Cowboys need to change. I'm wary when I see a team rally around the coach. They're rallying around a coach. But we're watching so many issues of what's wrong with this team. It's not just the owner. Some of it's him. Even James Jones said he didn't agree with something that Mike McCarthy did, because he said that in his eyes, Mike McCarthy as the coach should always protect the players. And he said Mike McCarthy doesn't do that all the time. And it's because of Jerry. It's because of Jerry. He's a yes man. Gabe said with Detroit Lions injuries, the Eagles, Vikings, and Packers are all like sharks smelling blood in the water. They are all in play for the number 1 seed, especially the Vikings and the Eagles. Especially the Vikings and the Eagles. Yes, the Detroit Lions, they have a lot of injuries. Lawrence, people give Cooper Rush a pass on the same things they killed Dak Prescott over. Yep, 100%. Dak Prescott is a try-hard backup that 2 minutes goes out there and does a good job, but it's bogus. We add so much yeast to Rush that he might blow up. Well, we're going to see, because, again, he gets to hit the open market. We're going to see if there's going to be a frenzy for him. Matthew Curtis said he must have thought it was the Eagles. He must be on drugs. Yeah, like I said, we're going to see. Yeah, I can't put no stock in the fact that we beat the Panthers. Esquire 1995, what's going on? He says, I just want the Cowboys to be entertaining, but in 2025, it's on. Yeah, it better be on, for sure. I want this team to get the starters back. all this stuff is great. You know, this is a great evaluation time, and I got my evaluation hat on. I mean, we're looking at the Cowboys. I think we have some pieces on the offensive line. I think Leafau. I think Kendricks. I wish Nealon was available. We know what Deron Bland is. I would love to have more of these young guys playing at a time like this so that we can really see what we have, so we can see what we need to be doing in 2025 as it pertains to the draft. I really would like to see a lot of those things. I really would like to see a lot of those things. And that's why, for me, it has been entertaining, because I'm just evaluating what we have. I mean, even when you look at our wide receivers, I mean, what we've seen so far is, one, we can't evaluate them because Cooper Rush is the quarterback. So we're just going to have to throw that part in the trash for right now, because we just don't know what Jonathan Mingo could be with Dak Prescott. Because I do agree with Jerry. Mingo is a more Dak Prescott friendly receiver. I also look at another part of this. Why Dak Prescott may not realize it, but Dak may need a change. I don't think the West Coast offense fits Dak Prescott. I think the West Coast offense fits a quarterback more like Cooper Rush. Now, the offense that Mike McCarthy had devised last year, called the Texas Coast, that was a Dak Prescott offense. But McCarthy has basically went back to the West Coast offense. I mean, this is pretty much what he's running. Now, he's been a little bit creative with some of the rub routes I've noticed here as of late, getting, doing some scheming and getting these guys open. I think he's really dumbed it down now that he's trying to run the ball more. But Mike McCarthy's offense, to me, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. He's so unpredictable, and you can tell he's very reluctant to run the ball. He's very reluctant to run the ball. He didn't do it with Dak. He's very reluctant to run the ball. And so I just think the Cowboys need a change, and it needs to be from the top down. And if the top isn't going to change, as in change themselves out, then what I would love for them to see, or would love to see from them, is to change their mentality and get a football guy in here like a Bill Belichick. Get a Bill Belichick or a Mike Vrabel in here and let them help them get the program back into football mode. I really think that would help them, because you got some good pieces. Now you need somebody that can help you with the team. Roberto said that's why Stephen A. Smith makes fun of the Cowboys fan base. They are delusional. Yep, it's true. It's like some of the fan base are wacky. Yeah, we're saying stuff like we're smarter than the scouts. This is why I like to deal in facts. I'm just telling you, I mean, you can see what some of these scouts are seeing if you just look at the film and the numbers. They're all telling the story. And none of them are sold like that, because these guys are like, man, this is crazy what these guys are saying. You said Mike has the locker room. Try again. Teams don't play like they played yesterday if the head coach has lost the team. You know, I just don't know if Mike has... Man, you know, I'm struggling with this, man. And I'm not really struggling with it. I'm just saying I understand what you're saying, because this is the narrative that everybody is saying. The team hasn't quit on Mike McCarthy. Just because the team hasn't quit on Mike McCarthy doesn't mean he's the right coach for the team. That don't mean he's the right coach for the team. I worked a long time in management. And it's amazing to me how people start responding when that boss that they like, as I mentioned, when people start trying to fire him, they'll work extra shifts trying to clean up the store. They'll work off the clock trying to clean up the store. They'll do all kinds of things, because we have to understand that when people get in comfortable situations, I've learned this in my own life, there is hardly no growth in comfortability. There is hardly no growth in comfortability. There's a story in the Bible that when you think about how Jesus took Peter up on the Mount of Transfiguration, and when Peter saw what he saw, he was like, well, hey, you want me to build 3 tabernacles here? And a voice from heaven came down and said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Because he saw Jesus transfigured right before his eyes. When you think about the reason why there didn't need to be a tabernacle, because see, a lot of people, they want to be at the top of the mountain. But the growth isn't actually in the top of the mountain. The growth is in the valley. The growth is in the valley. That's where all the stuff grows, the food, the shrubbery, the greenery. Though he leadeth me through the valley of the shadow of death. See, the growth is in the valley because that's where you grow. That's where the nourishment is. That's where the things that you really need to turn you into who you need to be. That's where it is. And so a lot of times, see, people, they try to find a comfortable spot so they can be comfortable, not so they can grow. And for me, with Mike McCarthy, the danger is this team has gotten to a point to where it's comfortable. You think about where this team is right now. We're talking about winning mentalities and all of this type of stuff, but if you really step back and even look at what we are watching with this team right now, is it any different from what we've already seen? Is it any different? We've watched Mike McCarthy for 5 seasons. This team has destroyed with Dak Prescott. They destroyed bad teams. They've beat some good teams, 2 great teams from time to time with Dak Prescott. But do you notice what happens? We keep blaming the quarterback only for 2 playoff wins. But we're not looking at Mike McCarthy and how he has played into not only the playoff losses. How has he played in these 12-win seasons? Why is it the magic number is 12? Why hasn't the magic number been 13? Why hasn't he achieved 14? Why hasn't he achieved 15 in one of those seasons? Why not? Go back and look. Go back and look at the schedules. There were always games to where you could attribute those losses, not to Dak Prescott. You could attribute those losses to coaching blunders, clock mismanagement, bad situational football, bad plays at the wrong time. You can look at times where we should have ran and we threw. Times where we threw and then we should have ran. I mean, you can look. You think that this year, all these fake punts and stupid stuff. No, it's been happening. We've always been at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to things such as focus, penalties. All those are coaching issues. Coaching issues. And with everything that we're seeing, you want to know why Dan Quinn hightailed it out of here? Dan Quinn did a good job with his defense too. Dan Quinn with no linebackers. Yes, Dan Quinn with safeties playing linebacker. Dan Quinn, as much as we want to criticize him now, Dan Quinn did a great job with his defense. But Dan Quinn, I'm telling you, Dan Quinn got tired of Jerry Jones. He did. He got tired of the culture here. Dan Quinn got tired of the culture here. No coach wants to have a culture of do more with less. That's the dumbest culture. I don't want to be in a culture like do more with less, do more with less, do more with less, win more with less, do more. What? Stupid. You think that's a winning mentality? That's dumb. That's an excuse maker mentality. Because the moment we lose, oh, it was injuries. Oh, a lack of talent. Oh, Jerry. That's the culture we have here, and it's still the same. And my issue with Mike McCarthy, he's blended into the culture. He's blended in. He's a part of what they're used to. Somebody needs to be allowed, and this is the problem. Somebody needs to be allowed to come in here and do what I call culture busting. They need a culture buster. They need somebody to kick the door in and say, this culture is stupid. Stupid. It's a dumb culture. It's a stupid culture. Even the fan base is bought into it. This culture is dumb on this team. Do more with less. You want to know why we keep talking about the backup quarterback? Do more with less. Yeah, we want a quarterback that we know can't throw past 10 yards. Oh, but the team plays so good around him. We want a team where the quarterback is below mediocre. We want a backup quarterback to where our defense has to play out of its mind and get us 3 and 4 turnovers and 6 sacks a game. We want a quarterback where the special teams have to be special every week and they can't make a mistake. We want a quarterback to where everybody around him is better than him. We want that team. Do more with less. It's a dumb culture. It's dumb. Stupid. We want a culture where we fight our superstars on every contract. We don't care how they perform. When their contract comes up, yeah, we guess it's par for the course. They're going to sign Micah Parsons. We got to tell people in the locker room, don't worry about it. They did the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. They did the same thing with DeMarcus Lawrence. They did the same thing with Ezekiel Elliott. They did the same thing with Dak Prescott. Oh, this is what we do. Everybody just focus. They don't have to be in training camp on time. They'll be here even if it's the day before the first game. Stupid. That's a dumb culture. It's a dumb culture. We bought into it. We need a change on this team. We need a coach that's not a part of the culture. And that's why when I watch these players fighting for Mike McCarthy, I'm about to hit y'all with a bomb. They're fighting for mediocrity. They're fighting for more of the same. What indication has Mike McCarthy given us that he's going to be better? Tell me. Tell me what it is. 70s fan, what's going on? Tell me what it is. When I hear Dak Prescott, as much as I respect Dak Prescott, I would not listen to him on this. Dak's 31 years old. You think he wants change? Sometimes you got to look at stuff like this. He's 31 years old. When a new coach comes in, you have to learn a whole new language. The plays, how things move, all that stuff is the same. What you're learning is language. He's got to learn a new language. Not only then has to learn a new language, now he's going to have to learn a new system, as in, okay, I know how everything moves. Now I've learned the language. The language is this. It's been transliterated. So now I have to learn new plays, new philosophies. Mike McCarthy, he's the kind of coach that doesn't get in players' faces. Y'all notice that? Mike McCarthy is the pat you on the back type of coach. Y'all notice that? Mike McCarthy, he's going to fall on the sword for everybody. He's not going to call out anybody. That's Mike McCarthy. They like that comfortability. They do. Cowboys need a coach that can tell Michael Parsons to shut up. No, not a coach that will insinuate or suggest. No, Michael Parsons, shut your mouth. No more podcasting on this team. None. You will not do podcasts on my football team during the season. Am I clear? That we need a new culture that says we don't sit back and go, "Hey man, our coach is good. We've had 3 seasons of 12 wins in a row. Our coach is good. We want to keep him." No. We need a coach that says 12 wins ain't enough. It's failure. We need a coach that says 12 wins is not enough, guys. Mike McCarthy tried to brag on himself and said the good teams, they're always in playoff contention. Yeah, but the great teams win Super Bowls. The great teams win Super Bowls. That's what the great coaches do. They win Super Bowls. The great coaches coach great teams. They coach teams to greatness, not goodness. You want to be good, okay. But I'm done with Mike McCarthy. I might not be done with Mike McCarthy because he might be back next year. But me, I'm done with Mike McCarthy. I've checked out. He's shown me nothing that he's going to be different. Nothing. Look at his Green Bay record. He amassed a lot of wins. 1 Super Bowl. 1 with Aaron bleeping Rodgers, who in his prime can arguably be, it's an argument that can be made for Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Go back and look at the tape. Go back and look at the numbers. How in the world do you not win with Aaron Rodgers? How do you not do it? Now, the Aaron Rodgers we got right now, the one I keep trying to argue to my sons about, well, I can maybe see why you're not winning with that Aaron Rodgers. No, you had Aaron Rodgers, and you still didn't win the Super Bowl but one time. Barry Switzer won the Super Bowl one time, even though we know it's Jimmy's team. This is Mike's MO. He wins a lot of games. But his play calling, it's very predictable. He's terrible at situational football. He's always been. He's an analytic nut. Always has been. Relying on analytics and all this old dumb stuff. Mike McCarthy is almost about to be a dinosaur. Stephen Jones has been warning everybody. Because Stephen Jones is already getting his bag together. It's about to be more of the same. They are about to haggle with Michael Parsons over a contract. They've made it blatantly clear. They're about to start haggling with him over a contract, and Michael is way more vocal out there in the media, so who knows what this circus is going to look like if they don't go ahead and sign Michael Parsons sooner than later. It's more of the same. This is what we're asking for. This is what we're asking for. The 70s fan, Jerry Jones lives in the meeting, so the players think they can too. Mike McCarthy is bought into it. You need a guy like Bill Belichick that can be a buffer and say, while all these guys are in the media, what do you think about what Michael Parsons said, Bill? All we're focused on is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think about CeeDee Lamb? What do you think about him? What do you think about Trayvon Diggs at the club? All we're worried about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what you need. You need the anti-Joneses. Something needs to equal this out. Jimmy Johnson was the anti-Jerry Jones. You need something to equal him out. And unless they allow somebody to come in here and do it, you can tell me anything you want to, but this team, I have a nightmare vision in my head of Mike McCarthy coming back doing more of the same. Now, if we want to just be good, I mean, hey, 12 wins again, that'll be great. Something's going to have to give to get this team over the hump. Something's got to give. Willie T said the coaches they hire will not have the power that people think that it is, while Mike McCarthy is not going anywhere. He's a part of the system now. And if he stays, it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of the same. Lewis Bailey, John Gruden. John Gruden would bring a different mentality to this team. He would. He would bring a different mentality. He got Napoleon syndrome. I got a son. He's got Napoleon syndrome. You better believe he would bring a different mentality, a different tenacity. Roberta, yes, the culture stinks. And the problem is, see, for me, I'm different. Winning doesn't cure all to me. Winning the right way cures all to me. And when we're winning the same way, I don't see anything different. I see the same thing. I see us feeding off of bottom feeder teams, having high performances because we actually do have quality pieces on this team. The problem is Jerry can get you top heavy every single time. He can't build you teams. GMs build teams. Jerry can get you players. Jerry can't build teams. He hasn't built the team since Jimmy Johnson because Jimmy Johnson built the team. Jerry built the team. Mike said, don't speak on the team, period. Others have your answers for, he says, hold on. He says, team distraction. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is why for me, Mike McCarthy, I'm done. I've checked out on Mike McCarthy. He's that coach that I'm telling you, it's one thing, even in playing organized sports, some of the best coaches I've ever been around, I didn't necessarily like them. But I respected them, man. I respected them. When I see a coach that's hard on everybody, my son, matter of fact, we live over here in this DFW area. We had a coach that came to coach at my son's high school one year. And his son was the quarterback. And everybody was kind of like, oh, he the head coach. He done made his son the quarterback because they already had a local hero. Had a local hero quarterback. And everybody was talking about he was going to go to college and all of this. Wound up not even going to college for football. But this guy came and coached 1 year. And when I tell you he changed in 1 year, the whole program. The entire program in 1 year because of the accountability that he brought to the team. See, he came in from the outside. So no one really, they didn't really like him because he wasn't the hometown guys. But they quickly gained respect for him because he was the same with everybody, including his son. He was actually harder on his son than he was on the other players. When he went off on his son on the sideline for doing something stupid in the game, got everybody's attention. When I saw him that's a coach right there. You don't mind your kid playing for. He only stayed 1 season. He wound up leaving, went to a big school. He only went on to lead them to a state championship. That's all. Just led them to a state championship. Freddie said they're grown men getting paid to play a kid's game. No other should have to get in their face to get them to go out. I agree with you, Freddie, but at the same time, everybody's not like you. Everybody not like me. Because if everybody was like you, then you wouldn't be you. Really, I mean, you wouldn't be the exception. See, sometimes we're trying to hold people to our standards. This is why you need a coach. No, you need a coach. Because if every man was self-motivated, you actually wouldn't need a coach. You wouldn't even call the guy a coach. You would just say, hey, here's the plays. These guys, they all know what to do. They just go do it. I just stand here and give them the plays. That's all I do. No, you need a coach. And even you, we may be able to do our job to a certain level, and we may even be able to do our job above our level or a certain level. We still need someone to say, hey, Freddie, this is what you do, though. This is what I need you to do. Because even you, Freddie, just like I tell people, don't put all your faith in me. I tell people that as a preacher. Don't put all your faith in me. Because I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to disappoint you. Because I'm going to fail from time to time. I'm not going to do everything you want me to do. I'm not. I'm not going to say everything you want me to say. I may not even be able to do some of the things you want me to do. So don't put your faith in me. Put your faith in God. Because God is our coach. God motivates us. Those of us who believe, I don't know how you believe, but I'm saying we look for guidance. Wisdom comes from above. We look to the word of God for guidance. It's our coach. None of us guide ourselves. We all need someone to guide us, coach us. We all need somebody. Our children, they need parents. Everyone needs someone to guide them, to coach them. They do. Yes, grown men, Freddie, they need to be told. Why do you think Michael Jordan's ultimate success did not come until he got one Phil Jackson? Because that's what great coaches do. People don't give Phil Jackson enough credit. Because Phil knew how to motivate. Phil knew how to coach egos. Just listen to Michael Jordan talk. Michael Jordan, I don't know if you can even call him arrogant. I mean, he knew who he was. He knew who he was. He knew he was one of the best players. He knew his skill set. But Phil Jackson helped him and the team around him. Phil Jackson is what helped him to get those championships. You want coaches like that. Everybody needs a coach, period. Period. You're not always going to have to motivate certain men to play hard or do their job, but they still need coaching. They need to know ways of how they need to channel certain energy. Sometimes you get a player he's in a certain mood or a certain mode. You got to know when he's in a certain mood and a certain mode. Either calm him down or push him all the way up. That's what coaches do. Because when you're coaching, the reality is you're not necessarily managing as much the ability, but you're managing the mind. Coaches manage your mind. You can't make a person be what they're not. I mean, if you're just not a good player, I've coached Little League, for example, and it's always funny to me how parents, every parent think their kid is like the next, I don't know, they think their kid's the next Michael Jordan. They always think their kids are going D1 and stuff like that. But as a coach, you can look at people's kids and go, your kids ain't that. And they'll be asking you, why are you not playing my kid? Because your kid is not better than the kid that's playing. You can't make people be what they're not. But then you get these other kids on the team. They're superior athletes. They are. I mean, we had a kid, we was coaching in the basketball league. I mean, this kid, I thinking he was maybe in the 4th or 5th grade, like he was in the 8th or 9th grade. I mean, he was tall as me, bigger than me. Superior athlete. But he needed coaching. He needed to be told what to do. He needed to be told how to, okay, you got to learn how to control some of that athleticism. He needed to be told situations, what he needs to do, when he needs to do it. How to rely on his mind more than his athletic ability at times. That's what coaching is. You're doing all of those things. That's why when you think about guys like Bill Belichick was a great coach because Bill Belichick knew how to get into the minds of his players. He had a certain standard. They knew there was a certain standard he expected. And when Bill Belichick put in the expectations of Super Bowls are the only thing that matters around here, that changes the culture. That changes the culture. I don't care who you have on your team. That changes the culture because as a coach, what you're coaching is mentality. You're coaching the mental part. You don't have to, there are certain guys. The effort is not what you're coaching. They're going to give you 100% effort. The ability, it's not what you're coaching. The skill, there are some people, they get it. They got it. You tell them what to do. Boom. Hey, man, I don't even have to worry about him from that perspective. But what you do have to do with all, whether they have the ability or less ability, you got to deal with the mentality of them. You got to put the winning mentality in them. And then when you get the winning mentality in them, you got to put the winning ways of this is what winners do. This is what helps us to win. This is what makes us win. This is what this is, and this is what that is. That's what coaches do. Everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs a game plan. Everyone needs someone who understands the game plan. Teach them the game plan. People need someone to lead them. The mentality, it has to be there. And even Michael Jordan. That's why he loved Phil Jackson. That's why Kobe Bryant wanted Phil Jackson, because the elite players, they want somebody to coach them hard. That's why Tom Brady, he didn't like Bill Belichick as a coach. I mean, he didn't like him as the coach, but he liked him as the coach. Coached him hard. It brings the best out of you. People need that. Everybody needs that. McCarthy's not that coach. McCarthy is the build a winning program, always in the playoffs, always having opportunity. That's not a championship coach. Now you got to find somebody that gets you another step above that. Now you got to get somebody that says, no, man, Super Bowl's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters. Playoffs are not good enough. Somebody got to beat that into the head of your team. Jerry, winning is enough. But Jerry is showing us that Super Bowls aren't the ultimate goal. Because if Super Bowls were the ultimate goal, he wouldn't even be thinking about Mike McCarthy. And I hope that there is a chance that he might not go back with Mike McCarthy. Lewis Bailey said, I thank God that Bill Belichick went to the Tar Heels. Now, Lewis, you remember I told you, he got a clause in that contract. He can step out of it. and go to a team, Jerry still has an opportunity. Jerry has an opportunity. He can still get Bill Belichick. And I'm actually laughing in Cowboys news. It's funny to me that Troy Aikman, I don't know what's going on with Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman has been one of the people that has endorsed, quote unquote, Mike McCarthy. Now there's a story of Troy Aikman again talking about Deion Sanders being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. This stuff will not die. This is Troy Aikman. Says during a recent interview with TMZ Sports, Aikman said he believes there's still a path for the Cowboys to persuade Sanders to leave Colorado should lame duck coach McCarthy not be extended. Why? I do not know that Jerry, he's a world-class marketer, Aikman said. Deion is obviously not far behind that. And I think if you were to put the two together, it would be quite interesting. I think there's some compelling reasons as to why Jerry might have interest. Why even talk like that if Mike McCarthy is enough? Troy Aikman knows full well Deion Sanders is not coming to the Dallas Cowboys to lose. As flamboyant as Deion Sanders is, the one thing I respect about Deion Sanders understands something. You can't talk it unless you walk it. You can't walk it unless you talk it. And Deion Sanders knows that you can't brag unless you win. You can't brag unless you win. Deion Sanders would not come here and put up with losing. He wouldn't. He would not put up with losing. And he's one of these people, he has said something similar to what Freddie has said. That he does not want to be having to be in the face and motivating multi-millionaires, grown men. Now, keep in mind why Deion is saying that. College players are multi-millionaires now. They're millionaires too. I mean, his own son is a millionaire. But the difference is, with those kids, you can take the money away. You can take that NIL money back. You can affect their endorsements by not allowing them to play. You have a lot of control over them. But you don't have no control over those grown men. Deion don't want to deal with that part of it. That's the part Deion keeps saying he don't want to deal with. He don't want to deal with that part of it. And so, but I find it to be strange, Troy Aikman. Why keep talking about this? You've already endorsed Mike McCarthy. Now you're kind of going back and you're coming up with a reason of why Deion Sanders, there's a pathway for Deion to come to the Dallas Cowboys. No, Troy Aikman, say it with your chest. You're not sold on Mike McCarthy either. Troy Aikman is not sold on Mike McCarthy. He's not. Mike McCarthy is what you would call a good coach, but he's not. He just couldn't be the coach for me. Willie T said John Gruden will not make a difference. What's going to make a difference is that Jerry is going to have to hire a coach and empower him. That'll make a difference. Michael H. said, I remember when we lost Romo and Sean Lee, our season was over. Jay Woman said, Mike Zimmer should be head coach. He may not be the big anti-Jones guy. He does bring discipline. He gets people faces. He yells, cusses, but this also why the Vikings got rid of him. Zimmer. I'll say this. Zimmer has earned a DC job in this league. Only problem I see with Zimmer is this. He's already been on the team now the second time. And he's probably been a lot less vocal than he would be if he was the head coach. And I don't know, that might be a huge turn if they tried to flip him over into it, which I don't think they're going to do it. Lewis said that's what Bill Belichick would say, but he'd do something else, like trade you. Yep. Exactly. The Joneses want a yes man. Remember Jerry getting mad about 105.3? The fan called him out. Yeah. Jerry Ego will not let a coach like JJ coach for him. And Roberta, you probably saying, I think you said you don't like Bill Belichick. I'll tell you this. If not Bill Belichick, I think Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel would be a very good change of pace for this team. He's a younger guy. I think Mike Vrabel would turn the mentality of this team. He says, do you think the skirmish on the Eagles sideline will derail their season? No, it's going to help it. I think the Eagles, I just think the Eagles are the Eagles have a good team all the way from the top to the bottom. Stuff like what they're going through, I think it's going to be fine. Michael H. said, keep everyone on the same page, moving in the same direction. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Mike McCarthy is Jason Garrett with a ring. I can agree with that too. Yeah. We call him Coach Clapp. Yeah, Jerry Jones like yes man so that his dominance over the organization can still be solidified. They get that with Mike. I think that's why Dak said what he said. Because he knows the stranglehold that Jerry has. Roberta said, like the movie Ghost Dad, we need Tom Landry Ghost Coach. You know what, though? I'm telling you, though, Roberta, I think Bill has some Tom Landry in him. He has some Tom Landry in him. He's kind of from that era because I think Bill is like 72 now. He has some Tom Landry in him. Has that very even-keeled type of attitude. Isn't into all the media stuff. I mean, look at him. He's got a young girlfriend. You know he's not into the media stuff. I'm telling you, man, Bill has a different mentality because Bill is the type of coach to me that Bill can coach mentalities. And that, to me, is what Mike McCarthy can't coach. See, Phil Jackson needed those types of players because he's a master psychologist coach. Phil was able to get into the minds of his players. And that's why he's able to coach big ego type players. Jordan loved him. Jerry says, don't tell MJ fans that, bro. They'll tell you MJ won by himself. Oh, no. I followed Mike. He needed Phil Jackson. He needed Scottie Pippen. Mike said it himself. There is no Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen kind of all in his feelings because he said that he didn't feel like Mike gave him enough credit. No, Mike gave them a lot of credit. I thought he gave him a lot of credit. Because life changed for Mike when he got Scottie and when he got Phil. Life changed for Mike. It did. Phil's a different. He's a master manipulator. Jordan started winning once Pippen joined the team, and right after Cartwright threatened to break his legs in half, yelled at him during the first half of a said game. Yeah, and Phil was a big part of that too, because it wasn't a fact. Now watch this, Freddie, and this is why I'm telling you the difference between what happened with Phil and what happened with everyone else. Mike was winning before Phil. But Mike started winning championships with Phil. That's the difference. Phil helped him started to win championships. And that's the difference. Because the coach that he had before was not that type of coach. He was not that type of coach. Phil Jackson was a different type of coach. And so that's what really, really helped propel Michael Jordan to greatness. Because when you are a great player, you need a coach that can say, you're a great player, but you can be even better. How do you tell a great player that? I mean, do we realize what kind of master manipulator you have to be to tell a great player, but you can be better? What? How do you tell me that? Easy. Because that's who I am. That's the kind of coach I am. That's what you do. I don't find it to be strange. All of Michael Jordan's NBA championships came during Phil Jackson's tenure of the Bulls. They all came with Phil. Now, Brady, we can say something different about Brady. He got 6 under Bill, and then he got 1 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can say that about Phil, about Brady. But Michael Jordan's championships, they came with Phil Jackson. He needed a Phil Jackson because great players need they need great coaching too. They do. Because when you're a great player and a coach can tell you, but you can be better than this. What? That's mind-blowing. That is mind-blowing when you hear that from a coach. Well, tell me how. How are you going to make me greater than what I am? Yeah, I can. Just listen to me. I'm telling you, man. And it's why, for me, when I start thinking about the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy is a good coach, but do you want to win championships? This is the next thing that this team has to ask itself. But do you want to win championships? And this is why I'm not listening to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott likes Mike McCarthy. But Dak Prescott is the type of quarterback that you can win a championship with. He's good enough. So, Dak, you need a new coach. You may not realize this, but you need a new coach. You do. You need a new coach. Because Mike, you'll never be able to say he's not a good coach. Anybody keep noticing? Oh, yeah, Mike's a good coach. He's a great coach. He's got 1 Super Bowl. Not good enough. Not good enough. I don't need a coach living on 1 Super Bowl. We need a coach that's saying, no, I want another Super Bowl. I'm hungry for another Super Bowl. And Mike McCarthy is not it. And if we don't get a guy like Bill Belichick, I would still say maybe a Mike Vrabel. Bring in somebody like that. Yeah, Belichick was good. I'll give Brady a little bit more credit, but I don't think Brady does it without Belichick. I don't think Brady, he may have won a Super Bowl without Belichick. I don't think he goes to 9 Super Bowls in New England without Belichick. I don't think he does it. Belichick, those first 3 Super Bowls, those were Belichick. That defense was crazy. 70s fan said Michael Parsons gets more sacks from linebacker position than the DN position, I think. Interesting. True, but how many times did MJ hit the shot like as a freshman at UNC? Michael Jordan hit quite a few of those winning shots. But something has got to get you to that point. Something's got to get you to that point. You don't have to worry about Mike as far as that. And when you are a good coach, this is what you want. When you got a player like a Michael Jordan, he also makes things easier for you at times, because when you got a player like him, you can say, now I can put it right in his hand. I've coached him for this very moment. I can put the ball in his hand. Because as much as we give Michael Jordan the credit for the shot, I don't think we give Michael Jordan enough credit for when he didn't take the shot. For in those games where when Steve Kerr, him and Steve Kerr are having a conversation, and Steve Kerr is saying, I can make the shot. And Mike says, well, I'm going to get you the ball and you better make the shot. We give him those credit for the shot. We love those. I love those. But what I also loved about Michael Jordan that he don't get enough credit for is that Michael Jordan also knew there were times in games when he knew that they were going to triple, and you couldn't even stop him with triple teams sometimes. Michael Jordan would just casually kick it out to Paxson. Kick it out to Steve Kerr. Get it to a Grant. Jordan was able, he was smart enough, and even Phil, if you look at some of the stuff they were showing, even Phil coached that into Mike. Hey, man, you can't do it all by yourself. Phil helped coach that into Mike's brain. Use the guys around you. Phil helped him with that. Because before Phil, Mike was the whole show. I watched the game against the Boston Celtics. Mike was the show. Phil helped Mike to understand, hey, Mike, it's okay not to be the whole show every night. Put on a show because you're going to put on a show because you're talented. But guess what? You don't have to be the whole show. And Michael Jordan does not get enough credit for the games that he didn't take the shot, for the games that he gave other people the shots, for the games that Michael Jordan actually was a court field general, to where Mike was getting the ball to the open people and they were hitting the shots. Phil Jackson coached that into Mike. Go back and look at The Last Dance. Phil was instrumental, not in the ability of Michael Jordan, because in actuality, when you think about the ability of Michael Jordan, because folk don't even understand, Michael Jordan didn't come in this league like LeBron James. LeBron James came in this league straight out of high school. Everybody was crowning him the king before he even stepped on an NBA court. Michael Jordan, while he was good at North Carolina, he wasn't Air Jordan at North Carolina. Michael Jordan was not Air Jordan at North Carolina. When Jordan came to the Bulls, many people will tell you they were shocked at the elevation of how Michael Jordan transformed in the pros. He was crazy. He was crazy in the pros. He was crazy talented before Phil Jackson ever got a hold of him. But he wasn't winning championships. That's the difference in a coach. He wasn't winning championships. Great coaches will help you win championships because they know how to take your talent and turn it up to another level. Phil helped him with that. And Mike will tell you that too. 70s fans said that I heard Bill Belichick's after game talks sounded like they didn't win when they did. He created a mentality of winning. See, we got Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones comes into our locker room after every game. Hey, guys, it's okay if you lost. I love the effort I saw out there. Y'all keep fighting. We still got, shut up. You're the GM/owner. Man, get out of here. We don't need you giving us the pep talk. Get out of here. We don't need your encouragement. Where's our coach? Oh, yeah, God's great effort out there today. You left it all on. Great win on to the. Creates an atmosphere of, hey, man, we beat the Panthers, man. It's good enough. It's a good win. If that's what we want, I'm just telling us. No more complaining about Mike McCarthy then. If that's the mentality we want, no more complaining. Lewis Bailey said with that Super Bowl thing being said, people need to realize that all of the teams suck except one, just like the Dallas Cowboys. And I won't say they suck, but only one team wins at the end. But my problem is, Lewis, is that other coaches are giving their teams a better chance to win it than us. I just don't think we have it. The media gives zero blame to Mike McCarthy. They give it all to Aaron Rodgers. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Jared. Aaron Rodgers is too. There have been so many people that have argued that if Aaron Rodgers would have been with Bill Belichick, he'd got the same result. I'll tell you this. I know, hey, you don't have to worry. Tom Brady, to me, is the GOAT. Best quarterback ever lived. But I will say this. Talent-wise, Tom was not better than Aaron Rodgers. Not talent-wise. People do not understand. Aaron Rodgers was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. Folk didn't want to see Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers pulled the ball down. I mean, before you even blink, Aaron Rodgers 15, 20 yards down the field. Aaron Rodgers got wheels. He still got wheels, even old as he is. Aaron Rodgers in his prime, straight up wheels. Straight up wheels. Break out that bed, break past that line of scrimmage, it's a foot race. Aaron Rodgers was that good. And thrower of the football, man, I'm telling you, I don't think other than Dan Marino. I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a ball with anticipation, the spiral, the placement. I don't think I've seen anybody throw it better than Aaron Rodgers in his prime. And even now, he still throws a great ball. Even the folk who hate on him, they've been hating on him now for a statement that he made that's similar to a statement I made. These guys, they get retired from the league, and then all of a sudden they all become gurus when they get in the media, which really they switch over to the media and they start seeing a lot of crazy things, with the exception of one or two. And they're all talking and they're mad at Aaron Rodgers. But the one thing they won't deny is that joker can throw the football. Man, Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick probably would have been the same result. Aaron is just talented, man. He knows he is. Lewis said, I believe that Deion Sanders cares more about winning right now than the Joneses. Oh, yeah. That's why he didn't leave Colorado. You can build a super team overnight because of the NIL deals and the trade portal. Bill Belichick probably will be with Carolina maybe 2 seasons. He'll be able to build a super team. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think they're talking about that Arch Manning is going to go play for him. Michael Pena, Dowdle was 3 straight 100-yard games. Man, let me tell you something, Michael Pena. I think Dowdle could get a 200-yard game if they let him. I think he could have ran for 200 against the Bengals. 18 carries, they had no answer. I think he could run for 200 yards and run these games. Yeah, the Bulls were a super team. For sure, 70s fan. Always room for improvement. That's what great coaches do. Michael Pena. Bill Belichick can only coach the guys that he picks. That's why when he comes, he's going to trade everyone else on the team. I think that's one of the issues why they said that that Bill was not sought after in the pros. Because I heard that he actually offered his services to the Bears and they were interested until he laid down like a huge manifesto of everything he wanted to do to the team, and they said no thanks. Michael Pena, that's what Roberta keeps saying, resurrect Tom Landry. Smart players can become smart coaches. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Kick out the Tony Kukoc. I saw him hit 3 times. Man, Jordan, man, people don't understand. Phil really helped hone Michael Jordan's skill set. Michael Jordan was he's one of these people that I truly call an alien. Michael Jordan was something unreal, because it's not that he wasn't good at UNC, but he didn't come into UNC being this hyped up player. Like, hey, man, this dude is the best since sliced bread. He going to be number one. He didn't come in and take over the team. No, he didn't do that. But boy, when he got to the pros, man, even James Worthy said it. James Worthy said, man, Mike in the pros, he was different. He's different. Just like Thomas Hollywood Henderson. Yep. LT before LT. Aaron Rodgers broke my heart more than one time. Yeah, Aaron, man, I'm telling you, Aaron's immensely talented. Until Jerry brings in people that are willing to humble Jerry, we will not win, and idiot fans will keep blaming Dak. Because the issue is, if you emasculate the head coach, then Jerry becomes the person who they look to. And Jerry takes care of players. He does a lot of coddling the players. He really does. Does a lot of coddling to players. And because he does a lot of coddling to players, it undermines the coach. I mean, you think about it. Zeke literally went and complained to ownership that he wasn't playing, and then they started letting him play. That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's the team that we have. We need a culture buster. We do. I'm telling you, man, I appreciate some of you Cowboy fans. I actually appreciate all you Cowboy fans. I appreciate y'all who have this diehard mentality that the Cowboys are making the playoffs, because y'all make watching the game even more interesting. Y'all do. Y'all make watching the game interesting. And I'm pretty sure because of the way you believe, you're interested in the games, and that keeps you watching the games. So, hey, man, you keep on believing. Anything's possible. My issue is I have to deal in the facts. I have to deal in the facts. I have to deal in what I'm seeing and whatever. Everything I'm seeing and hearing, I got to deal in the facts. I think it's going to be hard for this team. I don't believe it. It's going to happen. Appreciate you, Jared. I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, man, if it does happen, I'll be the first to admit I'm happy. But I'm not going to lie to you. The fallout, I'm telling you, the fallout from this team, if this team goes to the playoffs with Cooper Rush at the quarterback, y'all better get ready. The fallout will be epic. The fallout will be epic. I'll be happy. I'll be dealing with the fallout, but it is going to be epic. 70s fan, I watched Michael Jordan in North Carolina. You're right, he didn't stick out at UNC. It was crazy what he accomplished. Man, folk do not understand. Michael Jordan is the epitome of hard work. Anything that Michael Jordan couldn't do, he would go in the off season. He would work on it. He'd come back better at it. From free throws, dribbling left-handed, shooting left-handed, defense, jump shot. Michael Jordan is nothing like these players today. Anything he couldn't do, he just went. Michael Jordan, if he would have known how big three-pointers was going to be, Michael Jordan would have been one of the best three-point shooters too. Michael Jordan had a game where he went off shooting three-pointers. Michael Jordan was amazing, but he's the epitome of hard work. That's why his evolution from UNC to the Chicago Bulls, nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. The dude, just a hard worker, man. Hard worker. Appreciate your Purple Soul Great Show. I have to do some work tonight, so I had you playing in the background, but appreciate you as usual. Yeah, we're going to come back for the next few days, because I'm telling you, boy, it's a lot of stuff coming out about the Cowboys. I'll be dropping a video late tonight. Y'all will catch it sometime in the AM. But I've already been doing some research. And this story about Trayvon Diggs is big. Because nobody's talking about it, but Mike McCarthy said something totally different than what I'm going to let y'all hear Stephen Jones said today. Them stories are different. Them stories are different. And shame on this team if they're forcing people to come out. If they're forcing people to come out like that. Troy Dudley said the only man to hold my MJ under 30 points a game was Dean Smith. Gotcha. We need somebody like you to coach Cowboys who will tell it like it is. Hey, man, I appreciate it, but I think they have some coaches out there that would do it if they'll let them. See, I'm the type of person, Kevin, I believe in you got to always put people on alert. I put people on alert from the get-go. Paycheck, you're not buying me with a paycheck. I'm going to tell you how it is whether you like it or not. So, that's just how I deal. Wicked said Kobe would have beat Jordan prime for prime. Man, you know what? I can't agree with you because, man, Kobe Bryant was a Michael Jordan clone, and that's saying something good about him. Kobe, man, Kobe was Jordan. Even Jordan said Kobe copied all his moves. Man, sometimes I be watching Kobe, I be like, man, am I watching Michael Jordan? Kobe was a beast, though. He had a monster mentality. I've gotten smarter watching your content. Appreciate it, Jared. I got more stuff to bring to us. G said, we're not missing much with the Monday night games tonight. I said the same thing. They're both a snooze fest with Vikings and Falcons both winning right now. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when I saw them. So I might I'm going to take a break right now, and I may come back again. I mean, it seems like some of the people really like the late show, what I call the late show. So I might do the late show tonight after my family go to sleep. I'm going to go in here and talk to my wife for a little bit, and then I may come back tonight for the late show. So if any of y'all up, I'll be back on. Dowdle running back of the future. No, he gone, man. He's gone. Didn't stick out of UNC. No, we're not saying he wasn't good at UNC, Troy. But even the great James Worthy said the same thing. Jordan in the pros. That Jordan in the pros, man, he was a different animal. He was. Now, we're not drunk. You got to listen to what we're saying. Michael Jordan did not come onto UNC and take over the team. He did not take over the team. He didn't. Michael Jordan continued to work hard. But when he hit the pros, that man was different. Rushing this team, make the playoffs, and somehow make it past the divisional round. Freddie. I'm telling you, man, the fallout gonna be epic. I'm not sold on Michael Pena. I'm not sold on that Michael Pena. Okay, I didn't see what he said. MJ was cut from his high school basketball team as a sophomore. And you think about it, Robert, that's not the start that LeBron James had. I was hearing about LeBron James in middle school. They crowned Michael Jordan the king before he ever came into the league. I mean, there's a reason why LeBron James has all these stats and people don't understand it. Dude came out of high school, man. I mean, he's dominant. He's physically crazy. Dude came out of high school, man. Been playing for a long time. 70s fan said, I can't do the late show. All right. I'm going to do the late show, I think, tonight, though. Cowboys need to realize that can be better, for sure. And Jerry needs to get him somebody that can pull everything out of him. Because I don't think Mike can pull it out of him. I think Mike has pulled some things out of him, but I don't think he can pull it all out of him. I don't. Gabe said, I appreciate the knowledge, G. I might be up too if you come back on. Yeah, I think I'm going to come back on tonight. I'm going to get off. Later, G. See you on the show later. Appreciate you, Richard. Wicked says people talking about getting rid of Najee Harris after the phone. But, man, people got to stop this kind of just prisoner of the moment stuff. Steelers fans are just as toxic. I still want Rico Dowdle, and we can use OBJ if he still has something left. Oh, he does. He don't need a lot. Bring him in. Y'all might get a shot at Rico because I don't think the Cowboys going to bring him back. All right, guys, that'll be my time for now. Y'all catch me on the late show. We're going to be talking facts again and some opinion. It's okay to talk our opinion, too. We talk about Michael Jordan and stuff like that. All right, y'all, till next time. Let's talk Cowboys when we talk facts. Peace.